Yeah, LTL true crime, we going deep in the dark. Yeah, peeling back the layers, expose the hidden mark. From the streets to the alleys where the secrets lie, getting into minds of the wicked, no alibi. LTL true crime, unraveling the web of evil. No stone left unturned, we dive into the prime. Yeah, we digging up the dirt, bringing justice to the crime. LTL true crime, unveiling dark realities every time. Yeah, LTL true crime, we going deep in the dark. Peeling back the layers, expose the hidden mark. From the streets to the alleys where the secrets lie, getting into minds of the wicked, no alibi. LTL true crime, I go. We don't get living the show, but then I'm not talking, baby, they got so. People go back in the world, no can you wait your life. Now Jewish alone, we better hit that. You'll be hit out of your body, better than looking the boats. I think still true crime. I'm done with dark realities every time. This is I think still true crime. I'm done with dark realities every time. Yeah, LTL true crime. We going deep in the dark. Yeah, peeling back the layers, expose the hidden mark. From the streets to the alleys where the secrets lie, getting into minds of the wicked, no alibi. LTL true crime. We going deep in the dark. Yeah, peeling back the layers, expose the hidden mark. From the streets to the alleys where the secrets lie, getting into minds of the wicked, no alibi.
Boom! What's going on, everybody? Welcome back into LTL True Crime. Yes, that was the debut of the new intro song. I created it. I came up with it. I used AI. It took me an awful long time to stitch all that together, but it turned out really great. I'm happy with it. Just a few more adjustments in it, but we'll get it nailed down. I think I need to space out just a little bit more time of like blank space before it goes live, because I didn't see if the whole song got.
I like
off,
it.
but
I like that real nice.
yeah, just kind of a laid back vibe. We got the LTL True Crime, and I literally used AI to create that.
Wow.
So I mean, the tools on the internet now are amazing, and just at the touch of our hands. And I designed the video and all that, but I literally took days to stitch all that music together. So, but here we are. And I had to call an old buddy because I haven't seen him for a while, and everybody's been asking about him. And I said, Tom sent me a really nice message today, and I got his message, and he immediately picked up the phone and called him and said, "You are coming on the show tonight." And he said, "Absolutely." So, Tom, how are you? Happy birthday.
Thank you. And I can't say no. How can you say no to something like this?
Yeah, it's really good to see you because we go way back. I say I cut my teeth with Tom. I mean, Tom was really one of the first guests that I had here when we started talking about Karen Reed, and he really was someone that was very accepting of me in the local area. One of the first people that were accepting, and was also very just informative, and said, "Hey, if anything that you need, reach out and let's run it by me. Let's dig into it." And I've been out supporting Tom at his lives in the courthouse, and it's your birthday.
All of them. And it's not me, it's Karen. I mean, we're all supporting Karen. And now we have Aiden now. So we're all supporting Aiden at the same time. So I think we're doing pretty good considering what's been thrown at us. I think we've reacted as well as can be expected. I think we've done well. I mean, can we do better? Absolutely. But overall, I think we've done pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I've just tried to keep togetherness in the community. I know that, for a while it got a little bonkers because we don't, necessarily have our leader here right now. The man that started this whole Free Karen Reed movement. I mean, that is Aiden. And if we can be the voices until he returns, and we need him to return sooner than later to get out here and start pushing. And I said, you know what? Let's carry the stick for a while and let's continue to do this.
And you've done a good job with that, considering there's no instruction manual. I mean, we're all kind of learning as we go along, and yeah, I mean, everyone's doing phenomenal. I mean, you can't ask for any more. I don't say togetherness, but it's not just me, Nicole. It's everybody.
It's everybody.
It's from my side of the street. It's so many people working together to help Karen and to help Aiden. And it really is that. It is that much love for both of them. You have to experience it to understand what I'm saying.
And for John needs justice. You know, I don't want to leave John out of this. And the Canton 9, you know, they all need justice. And it's funny that you know, when I hear you speak, and I'm not saying that it gets funny, but I think it's cool that you say this, and I say this to a lot of people that I even talk behind the scenes, that they go, oh, you know, you're doing a great job, you're doing this, and I said, but it's not just me, it's everybody. That means the people that have a platform, that means the people that go out and freeze their ass off at the standouts, at the rotaries, and over those bridges. I mean, it's freezing weather right now. The people that show up to Karen's hearings, the people that show up to Aiden's hearings, the people that are out there with their signs, Free Karen Reed, and wearing their Turtleboy gear, and you know, that's what this is about. It's a community, and it takes a community of people to do this. You know, I always say this about the streams. These streams cannot run if people don't show up. Right. You know, the channel is the people. You know, they decide. If you're doing some material on your channel and they don't like it and show up, well, guess what?
See ya.
You're going to be out. So, but yeah, good to see you, buddy. How was your birthday? Tell us a little bit about that.
Best birthday ever. I can't put it into words. The people that I've met on this journey are just the nicest people anywhere. I have no words. They're just that amazing type of people. I wish I could. They're that awesome. I don't know.
What did you end up doing? Did you have like a dinner, or?
Yeah, I got taken out to dinner, and it was the thing. It was very unexpected, very I don't know. You can make me cry again.
Don't cry.
No, it's just it was really nice to feel the love by even strangers. These are people I don't even know, and they love me to death, and I love them back, and it's amazing. It's just so nice. And the people that aren't involved need to be involved to feel something that's absolutely special. It's so special, and it's special on our end. You know, on our end, because we see everyone that's working together. You guys see the end result, and we're all working together behind the scenes to give you guys what you're looking for.
Yeah,
and you're doing a good job. So
I think Lisa says it right here. It takes a village. That's very true.
Yep.
It's very, very true. And a lot of people love you in this chat. I love you, man, because you go out there and stand for fucking 10 hours, and you know, you're updating 3,000 people. I mean, that's pretty amazing, bro, to have. I've never even had 3,000 people watch me. That's pretty cool, man.
You know what's amazing is the lady who shows up there from Halifax.
Yeah.
That's a wheelchair, that's got a plan just to be able to get from her house to the courthouse, so she can stand there and cheer Karen on. That's what it takes.
Yeah.
Type of stuff. Those type of people that do that, to put that effort in. I mean, they're all over the place here. And that's just a great example of someone just doing their own thing, doing the right thing, and coming along for the ride. And it's beautiful.
I agree. All right, buddy. Well, I had to ask you to come on. I've been doing, as you know, this looking back series, and we're going all the way back to the beginning of Karen's case and playing through it. And what I did was, I know everybody's been kind of yearning for Turtleboy material, and I found something today that I have not watched on his channel. So I thought what we can do is Turtleboy went back and actually did a recreation of Karen Reed's journey on that horrible night that she had to go through. And I thought that would be something that we could lean into. We'll watch that. And then obviously we go to the May 25th hearing. We can go through that, and feel free, when we roll through, if you want to stop and commentate, just let me know, and we'll do that. So we got some Aiden, we got some Turtleboy material for everybody.
Nice.
And we'll play on here. All right, here we go.
All right.
You see him, right?
We're in Stoughton,
I just wish it was in
now.
person.
Stealth mode. We're doing some
I remember this.
native journalism here. We're going to be driving the route that Karen Reed took. We are right now in Stoughton. Yeah, Stoughton's that way. Yeah, I mean Canton's that way. We're going to be starting off at CF McCarthy's, which is where their fateful night began. They got there. He got there first.
So let's do this. I'm just going to answer this really quick. Okay. I'm going to answer this. And I answered this at the very beginning of the stream. Jeff, we love that you're here, buddy. Okay. We really love that you're here. I think that I have been extremely transparent about what I'm going to be doing in Karen's case over the next couple of weeks. Okay. So what we're doing is we're going to go all the way back to the beginning, because you don't understand. Every day there's new subscribers and new people that come into this movement, and they don't know. Classic example, last night during my live, I probably had 10 or 20 people in there that have not heard of this case, and they went, wow, I'm so glad that you're going over and rehashing this. You're going over this again, so it gives us a perspective of what's going on. Also, here's another thing too. When you're like 2.5 years out from a case, from where it's been, you tend to forget things. And if you actually go back and review things, there's things that you pick up on and say, shit, I never thought about that. Or it could be a piece of material is like, wow, I never looked at it that way. I find that all the time with when I do the Idaho 4 content that I put together. That's almost 1.5 years out. We go back, we review things, and I just stumbled upon a possible link to a Bluetooth speaker of all things in that case that literally could not lock in the person who we think that's in custody right now, in jail actually, that is responsible for that quadruple homicide. And you tend to find things and see things that you might not see, 2 years ago. So
Right.
It's okay, Jeff. You can take this stream off. It's not a problem. But what we want to do is have a positive chat here tonight. Everybody's in here to have a good time. Everybody's here to support Karen, and that's what we're going to do. So
And you're going to get new people every single day.
seriously.
That's what this case is doing. It's bringing people from all over the country at all over, all different times. There is no set time where people come in. It's all the time.
Yeah.
But
I
by
had people.
this is a really good thing.
Yeah, you were in the chat last night. There were people that were like, I've only been here like 10 minutes. They were typing. They're like, thank you so much for going over this. So I will do that. I'm a very informative channel. I like to go back and look at things. I'm a very analytic person. I like to analyze. That's what I do on my channel. Sorry, buddy. Probably not going to have any new material until Thursday if Karen's court hearing happens.
There's all new material in what we're watching. We just have to watch it a different way. Look at Olivia could take what we're watching and find 800 things wrong with it.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, if it bothers you, I would just say, hey, take this stream off and it's all good. Come back another time. All right, let's play on here.
And then she met them there at I want to say 10 o'clock.
Erica
They had
says
a
she's
couple
here,
drinks
Tom.
There, they went across the street to a bar called the Waterfall. They had a drink or two there, or 7, as the prosecution would say. And from there, they went to 34 Fairview Road.
At the light, turn
So we parked in Stoughton just because we don't want any shenanigans, just in case the Canton Police Department. No offense to them.
No offense.
I just don't really trust them right now. Maybe they can we can rebuild that trust down the way somehow.
Wow, that's interesting to hear that from him. That's
Back-
really,
But that, yeah.
That's really interesting to hear that.
Probably not that well liked in this town right now, and that's fine. That's to be understood. It's also I'm not driving because I feel like they'd look for anything to jam me up if they could. So I parked my car in Stoughton, and we are now taking a right, and I believe this road will take us directly into Canton. So next stop, Canton. There we go. I've been told by people that, oh, geez, there we go. That you really need to see the lawn. Like you need to see it to understand how small it is, that it looks bigger.
And I'm going to pause this really quick. Another thing is that's really cool for doing this is I get to hang out with my buddy tonight on panel. So that's why I wanted to do this. I wanted him up on panel because everybody's been asking about Tom. Where's Tom? Where's Tom? Where's Tom? Well, Tom's here tonight. So, all right, let's keep going.
Pictures. And that when you actually see 34 Fairview Road, it's not nearly as big as it seems. And basically that there's no way that Jennifer McCabe could have missed John O'Keefe's body on that road. So I'm also I'm streaming right now on YouTube, and right now it's an unlisted stream, but if you're watching this later on, it's probably because I made it public. So you'll also notice I'm looking down here this way because we're working on a documentary. I'm not driving right now. Got my documentarian working behind the scenes. And I think it's good because I think this story is going to be historic.
I think it's good to see Em here tonight.
Eventually, Karen Reed is going to be exonerated in this, and that the people who did this to John O'Keefe will be held responsible. So we're working on a major crime story here, and I want it all documented, done the right way. So, and again, this is how you do investigative journalism, folks. This is the kind of stuff that the Boston Globe does not do. That WCVB certainly does not do. Media outlets like that, they'll regurgitate court documents when they're made, the highlights of them. They will intentionally keep names out of it, like Jennifer.
And again, I'm going to pause and talk because that's what we do here because we talk live. But, Jeff was saying about rehashing, can you imagine being Karen and having to live this every single day of her life, looking at that case, looking at the file, essentially doing the same thing that we're doing right now to see if there's something that was missed or something more that they could bring out to say, hey, did you look at this? I mean, these lawyers go over it every single day. They go through that and those entire files and go over them.
But did you hear what Aiden said? If you listen real closely, right?
Mm-hmm.
He said he wants to go to the scene of where it happened and see it for himself because people are telling him the front yard's really small.
Yeah.
And it's not very big, the front yard.
Right.
So he took it upon himself to go to 34 Fairview, whereas no other media went there. Like what, Channel 4 went there? For what? 2 minutes of footage?
Right.
Really? We're talking a Boston cop here. No.
Yeah. Candy, thank you so much for the 10 on Cash App. I appreciate it.
For McCabe and Brian Albert and Colin Albert, you'll never hear stuff that the Boston Globe does not do, that WCVB certainly does not do, and media outlets like that. They'll regurgitate court documents when they're made, the highlights of them. They will intentionally keep names out of it, like Jennifer McCabe and Brian Albert and Colin Albert. You'll never hear those names mentioned in any of their reports, and they certainly won't do what we're doing right now, and that is recreating that fateful drive so you can understand exactly what happened. Stray Kids. Oh, they have a little ghetto in Canton. Isn't that nice? A little ghetto. All right. Think we found out where Chris Albert might be living now. We'll see. I don't know. We'll see. All right, here we are on Washington Street, the infamous Washington Street. This is the main thoroughway in town. me flip this around. You'll notice the Christmas lights all still up. Isn't that beautiful? And we are about to be at CF McCarthy's. Okay. It's bumping in there. Look, it's a good time. Like, who the fuck are those weirdos? Okay. Now, where the fuck is the waterfall bar? Is that up here? Let's find out.
Yep.
Actually. And the waterfall should be right
there.
Yep.
There. There's the waterfall.
Away a little bit.
Okay, so it's a little secluded.
Yep.
It's dark. Is that even open?
Seen it many times.
Yeah, a little different. Okay. All right, so they go there, and now it is 9 o'clock on the dot. So that's an easy time to remember. And we are going to recreate her drive home.
Tom, we should go up there and walk up there sometime and get some footage for everybody up there so they can see how far apart those bars are.
Unfortunately, you're risking your.
That's right.
Yeah, we
That's
don't.
right.
We don't want to do that. We can.
No, you're right.
We could Google Earth that. Probably will.
maybe 6 months ago I could have done that, but probably not right now. That's a good point.
Our drive to 34 Fairview. So let's see. I'm noticing a lot of places here, a corner store there,
the Tom Show
train
tonight.
station. A lot of these places would have cameras, not just the Canton Public Library, which is right there. There's the Canton Library. This is kind of like the center of town,
sorry,
if you will.
Maybe.
And Karen should have taken a left onto this street. It's called Sherman Street. That would be the most direct way. That way is to Meadows Ave.
It would be almost impossible to read chat because that screen on that camera is tiny. It's very small.
That's the town hall right there.
Yeah.
Yep. Can I say something real quick off the record?
Yeah.
When you guys in the audience, like when you see Brian, like his other shows, I've been in the audience. I just don't respond because I don't want to take away from what Brian's doing, what the Glare is doing, or what Mike's doing, or anyone else like that. I think it's like common. There are no rules, but I think it's etiquette to not. I don't want to take over a show, but like I'm there as much as you're there to listen to what Brian's saying or the Glare is saying or whatever, whomever. I'm there like you guys are, and I don't want to take away from that in the chat. So if I don't answer you in the chat, I'm very sorry. I'm not doing it intentionally. I just don't want to like take away from it is what we're doing here. Or what it is that Brian's doing or anyone else for that matter. Just want to give them like this is his show. I hope that makes sense to everybody.
You're welcome and free to talk in my chat any single time. And you know that when you're in the chat, you are always welcome on the panel. I will drop the link for you instantly. You know that.
I do, but I don't like. I like watching you as much as everyone else. I mean, you do great. So, again, I just don't want. I don't want to take away from anything. I only want to add to it. So,
well, we want you to add to it. That's why I asked you to come up tonight.
And here I am. So, there are some times that I don't like in the chat. If I don't say hi back, I don't want to take away from what's going on. Just I hope you guys just know that it's not. I don't love you guys. It's not that in any way. Please. So
no worries. All right, there's the Canton Town Hall. Let's play on.
Right is Meadows Ave. Would be about a mile or so down that way. And so yeah, we're off.
just the amount of ring cameras that are driving by right
now.
Oh
yeah, crazy.
There we go. Okay.
Where's all that footage?
So we're at 9:01 now. It's been 1 minute. Remember that time. So they left at 12:11. And I believe the prosecution said they didn't get to like 12:24. So that'd be like a 13-minute drive. I don't know if it's going to take that long. We'll find out. And the waterfall should be right there. There's the waterfall. Okay, so it's a little secluded.
It's dark. Is that even open?
Yeah, a little different. Okay. All right, so they go there, and now it is 9 o'clock on the dot. So that's an easy time to remember. And we are going to recreate her drive home. Or her drive to 34 Fairview. So let's see. I'm noticing a lot of places here, a corner store there, a train station. A lot of these places would have cameras, not just the Canton Public Library, which is right there. There's the Canton Library.
Mhm.
This is kind of like your center of town, if you will. And Karen should have taken a left onto this street. It's called Sherman Street. That would be the most direct way. That way is to Meadows Ave. Right is Meadows Ave, would be about a mile or so down that way. And so, yeah.
I think, oh no, he's not going to be in this stream, but Aiden will be in the stream on Friday night when I have Melanie Little over. He's going to be in the chat for about an hour. I do know that. So that's going to be cool. That stream's at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Monday. I'm sorry, Monday. Fuck, man. I'm all Friday.
That's gonna be awesome. I can't wait to. I'm so excited for that. I'm so happy for that.
Yeah, it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be a good one. I can't wait to go over the Coffin Daffer video with her. I think that's gonna be really good. So yeah, Melanie Little will be live on my channel Friday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll drop the link right now so you can set your reminders. I'd love to go with that.
Here we go. Okay.
But he was listening. If you all missed it, Aiden was in my chat last night. He had I'm just going to say a liaison that was talking to him on the phone, and he was listening in, and he was commenting through this liaison, and they were typing in the chat, and he was listening, and he was commenting, and he's very proud of everybody. I can tell you that. I talked to some people that are very close to him, and he is very proud of all of you and loves what you're doing. He said, keep going. Don't stop. We need to keep going. And we will. We will.
So we're at 9:01 now. It's been 1 minute. Remember that time. So they left at 12:11. And I believe the prosecution said they didn't get to like 12:24. So that'd be like a 13-minute drive. I don't know if it's going to take that long. We'll find out.
Tom, what was the weather at this time? Just light snow, right? Or did snow start yet?
The snow it hadn't started yet, but it was coming. Big, huge storm coming. It was down. It wasn't here yet.
Yeah. So at this time, there had been no snow that had fallen. Okay.
No snow.
Okay. So the temple should be up here on the right.
Thank you, Doreen. Enjoy it. I'm going to have some other ones up there. I'm going to get Yannetti Little, and of course, we'll do a tribute to Karen as well, too. I just got to get some think of some designs. But, one of my favorite sayings is right here. I absolutely love this right here.
It makes absolutely no sense. That is the Commonwealth grasping at straws. If it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, it's a duck.
It's just so good. I love it.
Yes, there it is. Okay. So we're going by the temple right now. The temple was listed by the prosecution. They said that they have video from there showing her drive by at a certain time. Okay. And then she would come down here and she would take a left onto Dedham Street at the next light. Now, keep in mind, there probably weren't this many cars out at that time of night. A little bit different here. Okay. So now we're on Dedham Street.
Yeah, I'll make a
eventually we'll take you to
Dedham.
Dedham. Call it that.
That'll be great.
but we hopefully we don't get that far this time. We're going to take a left onto Cedar Crest, which will be the next left. Should be the next left. So not like probably, I don't know, quarter mile down the road.
You got a question, Tom. Tom, did you go back and find your shoes with the leaf blower yet?
Yeah, it was snowing so hard I lost them. I couldn't see. I just couldn't see anywhere. It was like Braille out there.
So there's Canton High School. No, John F. Kennedy Elementary School.
Oh, great.
And then up here on the left should be Cedar Crest.
Yeah, I'll think it's Mianetti. I'm going to get Mianetti. I'm going to get
We
Little.
didn't go down this way.
I'm gonna
before,
do a
right? We just kept
Karen
going
shirt.
straight.
We kept going straight.
That's right. Okay.
Probably do something like a dream.
Okie
team, all three
dokie.
of
So
them together.
now we're cooking. Okay. So,
Stop sign.
yeah, this is okay. There's like 4 stop signs on the street because I drove down it a little already. And very suburban here. So Karen's coming.
Well, Olivia said it had started snowing already at that time. Let's go back up and look at it.
Oh, that's right. No, she's right. She's right, because in the Boston.com article, they had said that it had started to snow as they left CF that waterfall. They left the waterfall and it was snowing.
So Olivia's, yeah, go ahead.
She's right.
Yeah, no problem. Listen, that's why we go back over this shit. According to Ryan Nagel's interview, it started snowing at about 30 minutes before he came to pick up Julie at 34 Fairview. So it was probably just barely starting to snow on the drive from the bars.
You call it midnight, roundaboutish.
Yeah. Thanks, Olivia. We appreciate that.
Coming down here.
Again, we're not perfect. You know, we get things wrong too, but that's why we do this. And that's why we have the chat chime in, you know.
Oh my God, John, why do we have to do this? It's like 12:30. You have to be up in the morning. Your kids need breakfast. And what are we doing? We're in our 40s. Where are we going to an after party? Who's going to be there? Whose birthday party is it? Who the fuck is Brian Albert Jr.? Why are we hanging out with 25-year-olds? That's weird. Okay, I don't know, honey. I want to fit in, you know? My kids are friends with their kids, and these are kind of important people in town to get to know.
Oh,
and,
man.
you know, just give me a break, will ya? Okay, John. But only because I love you. And I'd do anything for you. Okay, cool. I love you too. All right, so now we are coming down.
Again, I'm not laughing.
Yeah,
No,
as you can see here,
not laughing at the situation. But
it's a nice area. It's a nice little neighborhood.
it is
Really,
nice
trick or
down there.
treating is real nice around here.
Nice houses.
But everything looks the same, especially in the dark with all
$1
these
million
goddamn
houses
stop
down there.
signs. Straight. Yep, straight. Okay, so what we're gonna do, she should have gone left up here on Fairview, but we're not gonna do that. She missed the turn, so we need to recreate this. So she's gonna come down here. What street is it? I don't know, Fairview something. Where's that? I don't know. Okay, is that it? No, just keep going. No. Wait. Okay.
Dude, I know all of
Hold
them.
on. I
Driven
don't
them
know. Keep going.
1,000 times.
I think we missed it. Okay, well, maybe you should just turn around up here or something. Okay, why don't you just do a U-turn up here and we'll turn around, okay? Not a 3-point turn though. Those are dangerous. All right. Yeah,
Not a
just do a little
3-point
turn
turn.
around.
He blew the stop sign for science.
And it is now
Like that.
9:06. So we've been 6. It's in 6 minutes. We'll probably be there at 9:07, which means 7 minutes. They left CF McCarthy. They left the waterfall at 12:11. So that would bring us to about 12:18, which is the exact time that she texted him, with the exact direction. So we're gonna go right here. So this is right here. So I'll stop right here. So that is where Ryan Nagel pulled up and things got.
Hey, do me a favor. Anybody that ordered a t-shirt or sweatshirt tonight, send me some emails. I want to see what they look like because I haven't seen one in person yet. I actually ordered a sample. I should have probably done that before I put them out, but I think they're going to be great anyway. But I'd love to see. And if there's any corrections that I need to make, I'll be able to do that. So I think they're going to be fine though.
Got awkward. He yielded to her and allowed her to go right here. So Ryan Nagel is behind them. So now we can proceed.
That's why
So
we're doing
she's
it,
coming
Bob.
up here, and she's like,
Haven't
"Oh,
seen it either.
where is the house, John? They all look the same." And indeed they do. And then this is okay. So slow down. So this is the driveway of 34 Fairview, and she's gonna pull up all the way to the end. And it's really not that fucking far. Like, look how close the front door is. That's like 20 feet there. Okay. Now, I don't want to trespass or anything.
Wow. Okay. Interesting.
Mhm.
So she drops him off again, right here. There's a flagpole right there. He would have had to get across the line in the dark. And you can see why Ryan Nagel wouldn't even notice that, right? Because Ryan Nagel would have been right over there by the driveway. It's snowing out. He's going to fucking run to that door right there. He's going to run to that door because it's colder. Get inside, and you can see the lights in the basement down there. He would have gone right into it.
So there's so many people that went, are you rehashing old content? A lot of people never even seen this videos before. I went on Turtleboy's page today and did some spying, looking around. And I said, this will be a fantastic recreation video to watch. And that's why we're doing it. So we're going to get through this, and then we're going to play the May 25th hearing, because that will take you up about a year, because there are other hearings in between that, but they were never broadcast. The first broadcast one was the one on it was the 3rd or the 6th? The 3rd. So we'll do the 25th next.
Now Karen goes home.
Dave, I made a t-shirt.
She's sitting here 10 and 2, allegedly. So remember, the prosecution says she has a broken taillight because she just left him to die in the snow. Okay? She just left him to die in the snow. Now, Ryan Nagel, you saw how close. He didn't see it. He saw her sitting there as he drove by, 10 and 2, with the interior light on, probably programming One Meadows Ave to her phone or waiting for John to text him back. So this is Sherman Street. This takes us towards the center of town, to the library, at the intersection of Washington and whatever. Now look at this. There's a fucking, this is an MBTA station we're coming up on here. You're telling me none of these places have cameras? That only the library had a fucking camera? Any of these places could have picked up her taillight camera. Any of them. Like, that, you telling me there's no camera in there? Give me a break. Of course there's a camera in there.
Everywhere.
There's cameras everywhere. Like, they weren't driving, guys, through the freaking middle of nowhere. This is the center of a town of 25,000 people. It's not like the boonies. It's the suburbs. Now we are at the library. So this is, oh good, it's stopping. Okay. So you see that? I'm gonna turn it right here. We are at the fucking library right now. How do I get that out? So that, I don't know if you guys can see
the
it.
library that captured the footage with the 2 minutes missing, right, Tom?
That would be the one.
That's the library. Yeah, I wonder, where did that missing 2 minutes go? Jeez.
So a couple things, right?
Mhm.
As we're rewinding this, they got lost, both of them, right, on their way to 34.
Right.
They both got lost. Now, granted, they were both under the influence. Give you that, but neither one of them had ever been to that address ever before. So they knew, I think, whereabouts the house was based on the kids, but he's never been there.
Mm-hmm.
And also, when Ryan Nagel lets Karen go first, and they both end up at the same dwelling, she stops first, lets John out. She then pulls up so that Ryan can come in the driveway, because she was at the end of the driveway. Ryan pulls up. Ryan doesn't even see John, because when she pulls up, he jumps out and runs in. That's why Nagel didn't see him, because otherwise Nagel should have seen the entire incident, because it would already have unfolded according to the prosecution. This incident, this witness, this 24.0 2 miles an hour reverse type of 3-point turn, other direction type of thing, whatever they want to call it. That's when that was supposed to happen in front of Ryan Nagel and the driver of the truck that they were both in.
Well, the interesting thing about it too is if we go back, and I just was thinking about this, for a heavily dense neighborhood, if you watch when Turtleboy got out with his camera, it's actually not very well lit there. He actually had his flashlight on, so I mean that would make sense. John runs up to the house. Nagel doesn't see him because it's dark. It's dark.
Yep.
And I don't know if they have one of those trip lights out front. You know what I'm talking about? The motion trip light.
Yeah, most
Yeah.
of the
Or if it was one that they actually flip on, because that light could be off. Could have been off.
Is the library.
That's what I want to know.
And the camera, I mean, keep in mind, by the way, look at these fucking camera lights. There's fucking cameras all over the place. So she would have gone right by here.
10 and 2.
Yep, straight.
10 and 2.
And that camera at the library
on.
would have picked up her right tail light, the side that I'm on right now. That would have picked it up. Okay? And then she would have kept going this way to One Meadows. There's Canterbury. He'll be the next right. So this is Meadows Ave. That's the house, okay? And I want you to see how small this driveway is.
Olivia said she did a
Gonna go by
long
slowly.
Ryan Nagel.
Okay, so don't just keep going. Don't go too slow. Oh, that's just keep going, keep going. That's his fucking nephew. Yeah, we don't want to be creepy. Okay, so that's his house, and then keep going, and then up here this is where Colin Albert lived.
There you go. Linda says the house light outside wasn't on, and it was pretty dark there. I mean, we just saw it, and this video's from, I think, like 8 months ago. This is in fucking May. So it's a crisp, clear night here. Let's add winter to it where there was snow.
That is the Chris Alberts. They don't live there anymore. Okay. So we will just keep going. I don't want to fucking get that kid on film. I don't want to get, okay. So now, okay. So we'll stop up here. We can turn around up here. Okay. So now we're on Meadows Avenue. And she's sitting there waiting for him, and he's not coming. Okay. He's not there. So she's going to sit there, and that up right here, up ahead of us, okay, right there is, that's the Albert house. Okay. So I want to see kind of like, how did they cut across the lawn? Right. Because he said that he used to like cut across his lawn a lot. So I want to see that. I also don't want to get that fucking kid on film. Definitely don't want to bring him into this. Okay. So I need to find Jennifer McCabe's address real quick. I got it in here because that's where she went. Okay. 12 Country Lane. That's where she lives. Okay. She lives 6 minutes from here, but we need to recreate where she went. So, okay, I know what we're going to do. All right. So we're going to go by their house, but I want to show you how Colin Albert would have like cut through John's lawn. And I want to show you too how tight it is. So remember in the video, Karen Reed backs up into his car. This driveway is small as shit. And it was snowing and stuff, and she doesn't even realize she hit it, and that's how she broke her taillight. So let's set the scene here. So Karen Reed has come back home at this point. She's comfortably at home. She dozes off for a little bit, and then she wakes up at whatever 4:30, and John's not there still, and now she's freaking out. So she wakes up the niece, and the niece is like I need Jen McCabe's number. Call Jen McCabe. So she calls Jen McCabe, and Jen McCabe is awake for some fucking reason at 4:53 in the morning, and because she has not gone to bed yet. So let me think, do we need to do anything else? So yeah, so then she's going to get in her car and she backs out, and she's going to head to Jen McCabe's house, but not before she takes a quick detour to CF McCarthy's again. Okay, so we're going to go back that way and just kind of follow her steps before we get to Jennifer's house, where she meets up with
Olivia. I just answered you if you're in the chat. Check your Twitter.
Her and Kerry Robbins. So here we go. So okay, you can stop right here. So where would he have cut across the lawn? So he was a get off my lawn guy, but then so maybe he went through the backyard to just get closer somewhere. I don't know. It might have been some backyard shit.
Yeah.
You can keep going.
Okay.
So this is, you know, as we're gonna see here, there's the fucking driver. Notice how skinny it is. Okay, it's a skinny ass driveway, and he was the Chevy Traverse. Is that still his fucking car? The Chevy Traverse? Okay, whatever. All right, I don't want to creep him out. She's like, oh my God, I'm going to go. Is he at the waterfall? Did he go back to the bar? I don't fucking know. Oh, okay. And she's like freaking out, not thinking right. And she's going to go back down Sherman towards CF McCarthy's and the waterfall. Okay. Now, we don't have to like take a left when we get there or whatever, because, you know, we get the point. We've been down there fucking 4 times already. And we've seen it. So we're not going to do that again. But she's going to go down there, and she's going to take just a quick glance down there, do what we did, turn around, and then go back towards.
So real quick, I just want to answer this. M says, I'm going to leave the chat for a second and watch TV so I can see Brian's new shop. So my shop is kind of old. I'm having some issues with it. I'm trying to update the URL so it says LTL True Crime. So it's under my old channel name, Opinionated Idiot. But when you go to the landing page, it'll have all my LTL stuff on there. But the URL is still stuck at Opinionated Idiot. I can't change it. And I'm working on trying to change that. But anyway, all my merch will be up there. I'm going to start making some t-shirts, probably some mugs and stuff like that. So it's just going to take me a little time. But I do plan on doing a Yannetti, a little, and obviously a shirt for Karen as well, too. So
Jennifer McCabe's house.
the Action Jackson one up there right now. I love it.
So she would have gone left there, gone to the waterfall. He's not there. So now we're going to Jen McCabe's house. This is the way to Jen McCabe's house. We're back on Washington Street. This is the road that's going to bring us past Canton High School and past the temple. And we're going to go by 14.
I have regular classic hoodies up there and premium ones. The premium ones are going to have that softer material. And I did premium tees on there because they're a lot softer. I don't like the rough t-shirts. I like a nice tee in that. So I'll be curious if anybody gets a shirt or orders one, send me a photo with it on. I want to see what they look like. I think it's going to be cool. We'll post some of them.
73 Washington Street, across the street from the police station, which is where Tim
the
Albert
Opinionated Idiot.
Tim Albert. Now you can imagine how she was in a frame, like in her mind.
Everybody loves Opinionated Idiot. I probably should have kept it.
She has no idea where John is. She's freaking out.
Late now.
Is he alive? Where the fuck is he? And she's retracing her steps. To me, the fact that she went back to the waterfall, it kind of is good for her, because it's just like, that shows she's fucking freaking out. She has no fucking clue where he is. You know, I feel like if she had known that she killed him, like, she would have gone right to Jen McCabe's house, if that makes sense. So now we're coming up here, and we should be coming up by the temple once again, by the light. And we'll be passing Dedham Street, where she took a left the first time. But we're going to go straight now, and we're going to go to Jen McCabe's house. And she lives just past the golf course. And we met a guy back there while we were filming, who was just like Turtle.
That's crazy.
That was crazy.
It's pitch dark out.
He was like, Turtle Boy? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, yeah. What are the odds? And we had a conversation with him. He's a young guy. He's friends with one of the Albert cousins, one of the ones we haven't talked about, and because there's 6 Albert boys. And here we are at the fucking temple again. You guys can see it over there. And there are cameras there that picked her up. Alrighty. There's the Canton Police Department. There it is on the left. And right across the street is Tim Albert's house with the new pool in the back. Okay? Our old pool. All right. So now we're going to go to Jen McCabe's house.
Can't do
she
that
goes
now.
Right to Jen McCabe's house here. She meets up with them there around, I don't know, 5:30 she gets there, 5:15, somewhere in between then. And Carrie Roberts is waiting there with her, because Carrie Roberts lives near.
Now, this is very interesting. This is where everybody has to start really paying attention now, because this is where the timeline is going to get very important here. So really pay attention to this part.
Jen McCabe.
Hey, Jamie.
They all get in I believe, Kerry's car together. Okay, go left here.
That's Carrie, by the way. If anybody wants to know.
So this is
Old
Yep.
coach.
She rules the
and
chat.
then you're gonna take the first left.
Anything that goes on with the chat, that's her say. she's the queen of the chat.
Real quick, can everybody just hit the thumbs up on the other screen, like the chat? Just go back and just hit the thumbs up on the video here. That'd be good,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah, and I'll drop the link for this if anybody wants to watch it without our commentary after, and give this video a thumbs up because it will reinvigorate it in the algorithm. I'll drop it after we're done. Harry rules the chat.
So this is Jen McCabe's hood.
Does she still live here?
Yep.
Okay.
And her house will be down here on the left. 3 houses down. Okay.
The destination is on your left. 12 Country Lane.
Okay, that's her house.
Arrived.
What, that one? Yep, the one we just went by. So
The
that's
blue
Jen
lights.
McCabe. Yeah, so yeah, with the blue light. So we can turn around here. So she's gonna meet up at Jen McCabe's house here, and we'll see what happens.
What are the blue lights again?
I think
Dark
they're
in those
doing the
neighborhoods,
whole
bro.
like Blue Lives Matter shit. Like, so her house is a lot of that shit.
Oh, okay.
Pro police stuff. She really has been pushing that hard since she was involved in the death of a police officer. So this is Jen's house. You can go by it slowly. Whole bunch of cars outside. Notice the blue lights out front.
Can't do that now.
All right. We can keep going. Okay, so they're going to get in the car now.
This is
They're going to go to
important.
34 Fairview Road. They are going to go to 34 Fairview Road. Oh my God, I'm freaking out. Oh my God, is John? Where's John?
So it's Jen, Karen,
Yeah,
and
Carrie.
Carrie.
I don't know, Karen. I don't know, Karen. Did you hit him? Could you have hit him? I don't know.
8 months ago.
What's up with your taillight, Karen? I noticed your taillight's a little messed up there. I don't fucking know. I don't remember anything. I had 4 fucking Mai Tais.
Right.
Yep, go right. I just hope he's okay. Oh my God! What's it, Karen? Are you sure? Are you sure? Like, do you know the? Could you have hit him, Karen? Could you have hit him? Did I hit him? Oh my God! Did I hit him? I really hope not. Oh my God!
See, I want to talk about this for a minute because this has always been the big thing that the media, like, yeah, you know where I'm going to go with this, Tom, because I see you shaking your head. This is what I call the my cousin Vinny theory. You know, could this be? You know, and what I think it is, and you know, if you've ever seen the movie My Cousin Vinny, and I need to cut the clip so I can play it during the shows, but he says, "I shot the clerk." I shot the clerk. He's asking a question. He's not saying, "I shot the clerk." He's basically saying, "You're telling me I shot the clerk." That's what I'm getting from this. You're saying I hit him. I hit him. I hit him. I hit him. You know, can we think of it that way? Not what the Commonwealth. I hit him. I hit him. I hit him. I hit him. I hit. Yeah, she just came right out and went, I hit him. I hit him. I hit him. I hit. Someone that she loved, someone that she's hysterical that you can hear on the 911 call, someone that sounds. She's the only specific person that jumps out of the car and runs to John to help him, while it sounds like the other two in the background are lollygagging and whispering. Okay. Performs CPR on John. Now, keep in mind, supposedly by the Commonwealth, a couple of hours before this, she hated him. She rammed her car and backed over John O'Keefe and killed him.
And
But
here he is jumping out of the car that's not even stopped, trying to save him.
save his life.
Same person.
And then on those courtroom steps comes out and says, I was the only person that was trying to save his life. Now, if I hated someone and I wanted someone gone, I'm not waking up at 5:08 a.m. and getting in my car and leaving. I'm probably staying in bed.
Oh my god, I'm freaking out. I'm fucking freaking out. Where is he? Fuck you. John! Where the fuck are you, John? I fucking hate you for doing this to me, John! How the fuck can you do this to me, John? I'm so mad at you. Pick up your fucking phone, John. Oh my god, why did you have to go there?
Yeah, and called him,
calm down.
What, over 40 or 50 times? How many times? Does anybody know the exact number? How many times Karen called?
A lot.
Multiple times. So
I'm-
someone that hates someone called him multiple times. Yeah.
Calm down, Karen. When's the last time you saw him?
49 times.
I don't fucking know. I dropped him off there. And then I just went home. I never came home. He never came in the house. So I don't fucking know. Is this Dedham Street? No, you keep going. Okay. So that is the way Karen took to get there.
Exactly,
We're
KB.
getting Camp Police right now.
Yeah, escort.
I know, we're getting escort. Okay. And we're going to bear right up here on Chapman Street.
This one.
Yep. But you saw how much traffic there was on 34 Fairview. I mean, somebody would have enough cars would have driven by there over a 5-hour span or whatever.
There's a lot of
seen
traffic there.
Somebody would have seen him.
I even know the day that I went out there to film, I was like, holy shit, there's a lot of cars. And even the day that Aiden went out and recreated the backup, there was a ton of fucking cars that day. There's cars down there nonstop. And if not that, there's people walking, constantly walking in that neighborhood. Go ahead, Tom.
There's lots of dogs.
Yeah, I was just saying, there's tons of dogs, people walking their dog. So I'm sure someone was fucking walking their dog that night for the dog to take a shit or take a piss. Guarantee it.
So Fairview is eventually going to be on the right. I'll tell you when we're getting close.
Sure.
Yeah, there were a lot of cars.
Absolutely.
We were there for a couple of
lot
minutes.
of
Yeah, I mean, we saw it
Cars came
was a
by.
traffic jam we were creating. So there's Steeplechase Road, so she's freaking the fuck out right now.
Taking your dog out.
Oh my god, where is he? What's going on? So the purpose of now, so now they want us to, so I want you guys to, what I want to show is I'm going to come up and I'm going to get out of the car actually, and I'm going to run up and I'm going to lie down, okay, where he was. So once we pull onto 34, Fairview will be the next right. Okay. All right, so here's Fairview Road. So they were coming from this direction. And again, they're looking for John. They haven't seen it yet. So Jen McCabe's probably nervous as fuck right now. She's like, oh my God, I have to pretend I don't see it. And I am going to lie down in the road, or not in the road. I'm going to lie down where John was lying. And you guys, you could tell me whether or not you believe it's possible for Kerry Roberts and Jen McCabe not to have seen the body of John O'Keefe. Because again, only Karen sees the body, which the defense believes is by design.
Now, again, this might, it's super sensitive that we're going to see here and recreate. I understand it may bother a few people. If you need to take this couple minutes off, it's okay. We want to try to be respectful of the people that this might be too extreme for them. But I think given the video and what Turtleboy is trying to do here, it adds tremendous context to what's actually going on here. So
they're looking everywhere. Maybe he walked home. Maybe he got hit by a plow. I don't fucking know. There is a sidewalk here. I mean, then it ends. Okay. Hold on. slow down. Okay, I want to go quiet.
Is this it right here?
I think we're in drive now. Okay. So they would have come. Again, there's long grass, so it's a little different.
See the
But-
side.
You guys tell me if you would have seen a fucking body there. Would anyone have seen that fucking body?
It's dark. That's what I mean, Tom.
Yeah.
See how fucking dark it is down there?
And look at the curbing. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a curb. That's a big curb.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Dark
that's
as shit down there.
Yep.
And you add the elements into it.
But-
I mean, this is only 9 o'clock at night.
but
This is not.
the good part, right? You ready? The darker it is, the more prevalent your headlights become,
Mhm.
right? And the brighter they seem to shine because the darker it is, the
Right.
more light that you're putting on the
No,
scene.
you're right.
So she can't. The darker it was, she can't say that she didn't see a body. She drove by that location. She was just as close as anybody else driving by it. There's no way she couldn't have seen it.
Right. I agree. Oh, what happened to the sound? No sound. That's not me. What happened? That's on his video. I don't know. It'll come back.
He may have slowed it down, I think.
Yeah, that's true. Yep, he did. He slowed it down. Excuse me.
And again, there's the fire hydrant and the telephone box and the flagpole. So we can almost eliminate one avenue of possibility for Karen to have possibly gone backwards. She would have hit the fire hydrant or the
So
pole.
that's the fucking door he would have gone in.
The other thing is the lights aren't on. There's no lights over here because that light would have been on. Maybe.
Yeah, that would definitely would have been on.
It's too dark right now.
Okay.
No, it's here.
Ryan, see between the doors? There's your floodlights.
Let me go back.
Right between the garage doors, there are your floodlights right
Oh,
there.
yeah, right there. Yep. Someone was saying today that they might have saw a ring camera right here in some older photos.
Oh my.
I think I saw something like that. Someone was saying that right in this area here, it looked like there was a camera there. And I mean, I don't know. I forgot where the hell I saw that. But someone was talking about it today. Charlene, thanks so much for the $10 super sticker. I appreciate the support. Thank you. Yeah, and the snow would make everything a lot brighter too. It would reflect right off that. Yeah. All right.
Would have been on. Maybe.
Yeah, that would definitely would have been on.
It's too dark right now.
Okay.
No, it's here.
SA said she saw it. She saw that post today. Went out today. I forget where it was.
So just so we get a still shot of it too.
Absolutely, lady.
I'm gonna lie in there. If you could just take a picture of me, I think that the plant, both McCabe's in their testimony said that we were facing south, like the other way. That there was no 3-point turn. You can go left there. And then
You're welcome, man.
that there was no 3-point turn. That she just went straight. But then I think when Proctor saw the broken taillight at our house in Dighton, I think that's when he's like, oh, well, we'll just say she backed into him. Like, because it's like Eureka. That broken taillight is like the best thing that fucking happened.
Yeah.
And so, but it still makes no sense. And a week later, driving down that road, Ken Berkowitz finds fucking more taillight after all these plows go by and blah, blah, blah.
As
A
you're
week
driving by.
later.
As you're driving by, just sees it just in the middle of the road, just sitting there. Oh yeah, there it is. Oh, that taillight. Okay, cool. Nobody else noticed it for a week, but he noticed it because that's why they call him the chief. He's a very smart guy, smarter than your average cop. And so they said she did a 3-point turn there, which again would have sent her the other way. Like there's no fucking way she would have gone back that way through all that shit that we saw, all those stop signs and everything, because her house is this way. She's going back to One Meadows, so there would have been no 3-point turn. It would have made no sense. She would have gone it would have been, first of all, a million lights. Notice we're not coming on any lights now. Like this way has no. I would prefer this way. Not only is it shorter physically, it's also got no traffic lights except for this upcoming one at the library. And
Do we know if she had GPS and she was using the maps?
I'm sure she was, because she didn't know where. It's probably what she was plugging into her phone when Ryan Nagel drove by. So, how do we get to Stoughton from here? Right? Yeah.
I'm not sure if this is the way we came, but I'm not sure if it's.
It is? Okay.
Yeah.
Then
This is
you
going
do
to go
it,
back
yeah.
down this way.
Burger King, Stoughton, and there's the library.
So what do you think?
That's the camera right there.
What do you think happened with that footage? Do you think like they sent it to the police and the police
I think
edited it out?
I think Michael Proctor saw it, and I think he decided that when he saw the tail light was fully intact, I think he said, "We're going to do a little race situation here." And
we'll
just
with
say,
the
"Oh,
fall
I don't fucking know." Yeah, it's like we'll just deal with it. And
that's easier than
Adam Lally can explain that one in court.
Right.
Not my problem.
Right.
As long as they don't see that taillight, we're good. They can't see that. But again, she went by 1 million fucking homes.
Yeah.
One of them.
Let's see if McCarthy's again.
Yeah, there it is.
What is it? What do they close at 1?
Yeah, I'm gonna assume so. Yeah. Okay. Oh, you know where you're going?
Not really. But
Okay,
I just remember we came this way.
Is that where it is? Okay, cool.
I think so.
Yeah, that's right. All right. Burger King. Let's see. Yeah, we're 8 minutes away. Let's plug it in there.
Starting route to Burger King.
So what are you thinking about what's going to happen on the 25th?
Wow, and that's ironic because we're going to go right to the 25th hearing right after this. So we're going to get kind of a preview of his take. And I didn't even plan this, but it actually ended up pretty good. So we'll get kind of his preview of what he thinks.
I have it with the good knowledge that at least three people are going to be subpoenaed by the defense team. And that would be Brian Albert, Jennifer McCabe, and Michael Proctor. And I'm told that that even their lawyers like Reddington does not have the ability to prevent them from going and testifying, because this is an evidentiary hearing and they are key witnesses in this. Like if there's a trial of Karen Reed, Jennifer McCabe is the star witness for the prosecution, the star witness. Brian Albert is certainly a witness because this all happened at his house. And if the purpose of these evidentiary hearings is like so the judge can see, like if this doesn't go well in an evidentiary hearing, it's certainly not going to go well in a trial. And so this could all be used in the motion to dismiss, which I'm sure will be the next step afterwards. They will file a motion to dismiss based on all of these new revelations, based on testimony that they will give on May 25th. I mean, the idea that we will see those three people in a courtroom in a chair being cross-examined by sharks like Alan Jackson and David Yannetti is, it's like a fucking legal pants tent. It's like that. I get excited thinking about that. It's wild. Like to think about the content we're going to get out of that shit. Like, oh, you thought the last hearing was interesting. Because the last hearing was just Lally rambling on about nothing. And, there was some good stuff there with the pictures of the bite marks and everything. That was theatrical. That was interesting. But man, we don't know. Like we knew what they were going to say going into. Like you knew what the defense was going to argue, that those are dog bites or whatever. But you didn't know going into it. Like you have no fucking clue what Jen McCabe is going to say on the stand, and she can't.
I'm just going to pause this really quick. I just want to recognize this. I thought this was really, really nice. KB says Brian has what it takes to do this full time, even if it makes him come out of his shell. He has what it takes. I absolutely adore his channel and his content. Everything is executed top notch. Wow. Thank you. I really do appreciate that. I work really hard at this. It's not easy. Just to give some context, I spent 6 hours today going over and editing the intro song to make sure that it was perfect for tonight and putting that video together. And then I have an ending video, an outro that I made tonight. So I love this. This is not a hobby for me. I want this to be my life. And I talk about this, and I don't, I've given myself a year. I'm giving myself to the end of 2024 to be free of my corporate job. And, after this case completes, there's going to be other cases that I go on to, and there's other cases that I do now. But right now, this is absolutely the most important case that I need to be doing right now. Karen and Aiden need us right now. They, at the highest, most level, they need us to be talking every single day. And I will not stop until this case concludes. And I don't know what the conclusion is going to be. That is the most, I think for me, it's the most, I don't want to say troubling, but the most stressful for me, because we are putting a lot of time in this and the community is doing a lot. And the live streamers like me, Tom, Will, Dave, Mike, this is stressful. I live and breathe this case every single day that I wake up. It doesn't go away. When I am at work and I'm supposed to be focusing on my real job, my day job, this case goes through my head. And then it's, who can I get next to come on and give some valuable context back to the audience in a new perspective, or maybe open some new doors or windows of things that we didn't see before. I still have a lot to learn in this, I guess, game, this business. It's a business. Fuck yeah, it's a business. I've admitted it. I mean, we make money. I mean,
but there's no business. There's no structure. It's not like you can open a franchise of a Dunkin' Donuts or a McDonald's. It's all different, and it's all specific to each individual person. So, like, what works for me doesn't work for you, which doesn't work for Aiden, which doesn't work for Dave, which doesn't work. So, it's everyone's. It's what you are, I guess. Right.
And listen, I'm not trying to be self-serving here, because I'm not a self-serving person. Believe me, and Carrie can attest to this, because Carrie and I talk every single day. She is the sweetest, kindest person I've ever met in my entire life, and ultimately gives me the highest praise all the time. And you know what I always say to her, and she'll laugh. We still got a lot of work to do. That's how I think. I don't stop to smell the roses because we're not there yet. I'm not at the end of this case yet. And I always say to her, and she knows what I mean when I say that. I love her to death, but she knows what I mean when I say we still got a lot of work to do. She knows I'm acknowledging it, but we have a lot of work to do. And I will not stop. I will not stop. This is not a hobby for me. This is not something that I just come in and fucking turn the camera on and blab. I mean, I do a ton of research into what I do, and I care. I care about this channel. I care about the people. I care about the community. I care about the people that are involved in this. My style is different. My style is different than Tom's. My style is different than Will's. My style is different than Dave. That's what makes us all awesome creators, is that we're all different, and you get different perspectives of how people are thinking and what they want to bring to their live streams. So I don't know, Tom. I'm just a fucking guy in my bedroom that's making videos. I mean,
it's not. You're not just making videos.
And Aiden's different. Aiden has his style. I'm sorry to cut you off, because I don't want to forget Aiden.
No, and he's just not making videos. Is he just making videos, or is he making news?
Yeah.
Right?
I guess we are. We're making news.
You're not making just a video. It's more important than just a video. I mean, people are looking at you to lead them. You got the torch right now.
I think we all have the torch.
Yeah, we're passing it back and forth, but
yeah,
it's fun to see all the people that follow that torch, regardless of who's holding it.
Right.
At the time, everyone's still supporting behind it. I want part of that. That's what I'm in for.
Yeah, and I'm not here to fucking replace anybody or anything like that. I'm just doing my shit.
It can't happen.
People will choose who they want to watch. You know, people will choose who they want to watch. If you want to come here and hang out, great. If you want to watch it on replay, sure. You know, but I'm gonna keep doing my thing, and you know, we need the king back. You know, we need the king. He needs to be here, and he will soon, hopefully. All right, let's go 4 more minutes, and then we'll do the May 25th. Tom, you got time to hang out, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Love you being
You
here,
plead
man.
the fifth because she's not a defendant.
Right.
And
yeah.
so, like, she can't even plead the fifth. And so, anything that she says in
Thank
this
you, Am.
can be
Appreciate
used
it.
against her if they do charge her. She's in a
That's
bad
what we want,
situation. This is
Charlene.
bad
We
news
want
for
everybody to
her.
be watched.
I don't know how they're going to serve Brian Albert because no one knows where that guy lives. So we don't know.
Yeah, of course.
How can you?
Did he?
But they'll find out. I mean, somebody will find. They'll get it to him.
He moved after he started. This all kind of came out, right?
They sold the house on April 10th.
Okay.
So they got the fuck out of there around then. You know, and as you can see, that lawn is overgrown.
Yeah.
It's spring. You know,
Oh,
like
thanks.
so. This is right when you're. I mean, I haven't mowed my lawn yet this season.
They're gonna make an LTL.
It kind of looks like that. Not gonna lie. It's pretty bad. So I need to go ahead and do that. But you know, that's definitely the body would have been easier to see than it was tonight because of the long grass.
Yeah.
And the fact that it would have been a little bit lighter at 6:04 a.m. than it is right now at whatever time it is, 10 o'clock p.m.
Yeah.
So.
And he never came out of the house, Brian Albert.
Never came out of the house.
That blows my mind because he's a cop. All those cops are out there and stuff, and he just stayed inside.
Stayed inside.
Nuts.
Didn't come out. I don't know. I mean, there's no way they would have not seen all the flashing lights. Ambulances were there, fire trucks. I mean, there's a dead body in your
And he's a cop. He'd be like, "What's
Yeah, what the fuck's going on?"
He knows everybody out there.
Yeah, that too.
Maybe that's why he won't come out.
Maybe that's why. Maybe he had a bruise on his face.
Oh,
you know, maybe there was something on, like a mark. Maybe John hit him. We don't know because he didn't come out. Now, they interviewed him several hours later, comfortably, I believe, either at his, I believe it was at the home of.
Oh, thank you, Boston. I appreciate that.
But it's either at the McCabe house or
I had a good mother.
But I'm sure it was a nice, friendly
Taught me
interview.
well.
He just gives the details. I mean,
Eat
the story
my ass
is pretty
and eat
simple.
me
He
more.
didn't come inside. I don't know anything.
Yeah.
And that's it. He didn't come inside. So I have nothing more to add, really. I didn't. Matt McCabe is the guy that stares out the window for no reason. But everybody else, they didn't see him. And Jen McCabe saw him too.
Left's coming up.
Yep, left's coming up.
About another 2 minutes on this video, and then we're gonna play the May 25th hearing.
So yeah,
We'll do that for the noobs. Looking back tonight.
I mean, it's so you realize how small this
Thanks for
town
being
is.
here.
And all, like nothing was more than like 2 miles apart there, and you saw that. Like it took, and I'm glad we documented that. It took 7 minutes to get from the waterfall bar.
Thank
to
you.
CF
Thank you.
McCarthy's.
I'm
Right.
proud of
To
you
South
being a
Park
moderator.
to
Thank
Fort
you.
Fairview. And that's with her going the wrong way, turning around, and coming back that way, which she must have done because Ryan Nagel saw her coming from the other direction. So 7 minutes. So that they leave at 12:11. I want to say. I'm gonna have to go back and look at the exact minutes, but it took us exactly 7 minutes. And he's in that house at 12:24. Like they have his phone moving up and downstairs at 12:24, which leads me to believe it was an ambush. Like you just come in there and be like, it was just like surprise, motherfucker. You know, like, oh, you talk shit, and then fight starts, and all hell breaks loose. And then they got a dead body. They got an unconscious cop. It's not like they would have beat him for an hour. Like it would have been over really quickly. Whatever it was got out of control, and then who knows? Like they weren't supposed to do that. Somebody did something they weren't supposed to do. I think it was Colin. And I think you're just like, get him the fuck out of here.
Cracked him in the back of the head. That probably ended it, right?
That's exactly what I think. Somebody cracked him in the back of the head. He's got that gash there that is not from a fist. That is from a blunt object, in my opinion. Again, I'm no medical examiner, but I also know the difference between an abrasion and a gash, which seems to make me more qualified than this idiot who did that one.
All right, that's it. But I'm going to do this. I'll drop. If anybody's interested in going back and watching that, I'll drop the link. So if you want to watch it without our commentary or just revisit, you can. What do you think, Tom? Anything you want to fill in?
Yeah,
How you feeling?
When you break a tail light, you see the light that's emanating from underneath the lens, which is usually white. It's
Right.
really bright. Brian Nagel didn't see any white from her tail light at 12:24 at the latest, 12:11 at the earliest roundabout. So between that 12:20, we'll call it, her tail light wasn't broken.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We know how it got broken at 5 o'clock. Brian
We
Nagel,
have,
he didn't see it broken, and he was right behind her.
and if you want to see how it got broken, I have an enhanced video that I did on my channel. You can check it out. All right, buddy. Let's go through the hearing. May 25th. But before we do that, I gotta do this one more time because I love it. This is from the last hearing.
It makes absolutely no sense. That is the Commonwealth grasping at straws. If it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, it's a duck.
Oh, God. And if you want to order one of those t-shirts, you can on my website.
And how much does he get paid an hour to tell us this?
Oh, it's so good. All right. Let's go, buddy.
Norfolk Superior Court.
Judge, this is 22A2CR117, Apollo versus Karen Reed. Can I have counsel identify themselves starting with the comment?
Thank you, Carrie.
Adam Lyle for the Commonwealth. Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning, Your Honor. Laura McLaughlin for the Commonwealth.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Thank you,
Attorney David Unetti and Attorney Ian Henchy from the Unetti Law Firm on behalf of Karen Reed.
Good morning, Your Honor. Alan Jackson on behalf of Karen Reed.
Good morning, Your Honor. Elizabeth Little, also on behalf of Karen Reed.
Good morning, and good morning, Ms. Reed. Actually, I need 1 second.
Sure.
Auntie Bev.
Tori, can I see you for a second, please?
Probably trying to get out of the hearing.
All right.
Yes.
Yes.
I think for your consideration, the first matter for consideration is the motion to quash on Brian Albrecht.
Yes, that's what I was going to start with. Thank you very much. All right, so I would like counsel.
Excuse me.
Good morning, Your Honor. For the record, Gregory Henning on behalf of Brian Albert.
Good morning, Mr.
Thank you,
Henning.
Holly.
I
Appreciate
will
you.
hear you. 1 second. Hear you on your motion.
Tell me when you're ready, Your Honor.
I'm ready. Thank you.
On Friday of last week, I was notified by defense counsel that they were intending to subpoena Brian Albert for what they described as an evidentiary hearing today. When I got a copy of the subpoena, which I believe was Sunday, I'll have to check on that, but I believe it was Sunday. I filed this motion to quash as timely as I could afterwards, and I believe it was filed on Monday morning or early Monday afternoon. To cut to the chase, the issue that the court has to address here is whether or not the defense can create a new procedure under Massachusetts case law where they are summoning witnesses to a Rule 17 hearing that they intend to conduct as an evidentiary hearing, even though that's not the protocol that's been set up by the Supreme Judicial Court. The Lampron and Dwyer protocols that have been painstakingly analyzed, as you know from looking at the case law, set out the procedure that's supposed to take place. And that procedure is affidavits filed by the moving party, which has happened, and then the court ruling on those affidavits. What is not contemplated and what would be a violation of the Lampron and Dwyer protocols is for the defense to unilaterally decide that they will convert it to an evidentiary hearing, in essence to circumvent the procedures of Lampron and Dwyer. Because if a third-party record holder could be subpoenaed to appear and give testimony in front of the court when there's a pending Rule 17 motion, that
Use the
would
restroom. I'll be right back, Tom.
vacate the significance of the Lampron and Dwyer protocols. There'd be no purpose in submitting affidavits. There'd be no purpose in having the moving party need to meet their burden under Lampron and Dwyer. Because if you couldn't meet the burden, you could just bring the witness in, cross-examine or examine. We don't know, because we don't know if it's a direct or a cross, since they're the one calling the witness, but it would be an adverse party. There'd be no procedure in place to do that, because that is not what's contemplated by Dwyer and Lampron. And the reason it's not contemplated by Dwyer and Lampron is because the SJC has been very careful to protect the interests of innocent third parties, third-party record holders like Brian and Albert, who are involved in the case because a defense attorney has decided to make them involved. If the mere fact that the defense gets to decide who is going to be important in their case allows them to then create this new procedure, every defense attorney that wants to examine and what I described as depose a witness would be able to issue Rule 17 summons and then a Rule 17A1 summons that says, by the way, we're going to take your live testimony. So imagine if, as you know from the typical cases, a moving party in a sex assault case decided that they wanted psychiatric records from a complaining witness. They could seek the psychiatric records under 17.2, but then they could also bring in the psychiatrist or the victim and simply examine them and say, we don't know what's in the records, but what did you tell your doctor? And that would, again, be an end run around the Lampron-Dwyer protocols, which are designed to protect innocent third parties. So I read the defendant's opposition brief, which they filed last night. I think it's a straw man argument because I'm not arguing, just to be clear, that they're not allowed to issue summonses under the law. I'm also not arguing that they don't have the authority to summons witnesses for a trial to examine them. So that is not what we are arguing. What we're arguing is that you can't say we have the authority to issue trial summonses. We have the authority under 17.2 to issue summonses for records with the court's permission. We're going to put those together and bootstrap failures in our application for Rule 17 by calling live witnesses. That's not contemplated by the protocol, and it would be an end run around both Rule 14 and Rule 17. Other than that, I would rest on the opposition paper unless the court has any questions.
No, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And before hearing a response, we may as well do both of these motions to quash at the same time. So,
That's fine.
I'll hear from Mr. Reddington.
Yes.
Morning, Your Honor. Kevin Reddington on behalf of Ms. McCabe. As Your Honor knows, I also filed a motion to quash the subpoena that was received last week. Your Honor, I echo the same argument as Mr. Henning. It's pretty apparent. It's pretty much black letter law. This is a Rule 17 motion. It's really highly unusual for a Rule 17 to devolve into an evidentiary hearing where witnesses are being called and subpoenaed so that they can be basically placed on the witness stand and questioned regarding significant aspects of their memory, recollect what they did, when they did it, why they did it, how they did it, which goes well beyond the concept of the Rule 17. The Rule 17 has already been argued, litigated, denied, raised again before this court. There have been responses to the Rule 17, production of the phone for purposes of the phone analysis and the phone dump. We know that Mr. Jackson has taken care of having that analysis done, as a result of which he now comes to this court summoning live witnesses, which is clearly and unequivocally outside the scope of the parameters of Rule 17. You know, you can have as much entertainment as you want in a motion, and you can entertain the public, but this is not what the goal of a Rule 17 is. You can entertain.
Just going to pause this really quick and recognize this. Monique J with $6.99 Canadian. Thank you so much. We love our Canadian brothers and sisters. And thank you so much. She said, Brian, thanks for the coverage and the community here. Yeah, you know, look, again, I just want to make sure that I'm very transparent with everybody. I told everybody when I started doing this, excuse me, that I wanted to do this looking back. And you'll see the titles. It will say Looking Back Series. We're going to go all the way back and just kind of go over some things that transpired in this case. I'm going to play all the hearings. We're going to use some of the Turtleboy's material and also the mainstream media as well, too, because it refreshes. And look at, even tonight, when people were kind of complaining, are you going to go over the same stuff? Look what happened, Tom. Everybody said, I hadn't seen this video before. And Tom's taking notes. Show him your notepad. Look at Tom's taking notes.
We're going. We got stuff going on here. This happens every time we go over it. We see it differently. What about this? We have another piece of information in the back of our head. Oh, what about that? I mean, this is the biggest rabbit hole there ever was. If there ever was one, if this is the definition of a rabbit hole.
Monique says, us Canadians love your accent. No, you have the accent, eh?
Yay.
All right, let's go back to the hearing. Thank you all for being here. Make sure to smash the like-it button. I think we're over 300 likes. It'd be great. We're at 314. Let's go. We can get 400 in here. That'd be great. Oh, by the way, I am about 140 subscribers away from hitting 15,000. So thank you so much. And at 15,000, we're going to have a celebration, and I'm going to give away a very nice gift to a lucky subscriber or member. All right, let's play.
At the time of a trial, you can present witnesses at the time of a trial. You can cross-examine and confront the witnesses at the time of a trial, not in a Rule 17. The Rule 17, as counsel has argued, is limited to the bare bones, if you will, production of things, as the statute makes reference to, objects that have been indeed produced by Ms. McCabe. She has been cooperating with the government every step of the way. She has provided her testimony as any good citizen would do. She's provided her statements to the police. She's provided her testimony to the grand jury. She's been interviewed a number of occasions by police officers, detectives, the government. She's done everything that she should do and should not be subject to, obviously, a spurious, if you will, summons to put her on that witness stand with the sole purpose and event, hoping to embarrass, hoping to obviously intimidate her as a witness. So I would ask that the court would allow the motion to quash the subpoena, just as Mr. Henning did.
All right, thank you very much. All right, now I'll hear from Ms. Reed.
Thank you, Ron.
Your Honor, both of these motions to quash should be denied. The attorneys for Brian Albert and for Jennifer McCabe are essentially arguing to the court that in the usual course of business, we generally don't see evidentiary hearings when Rule 17 motions are filed. This is not.
Yeah, real quick, Dave. I think these are great ideas. The problem is that caused a little bit of problem last time. So I ate a little shit about that. And I think just going further, I think the way to really handle this is this. When we do this Karen Reed streams or we talk about Karen's case or Aiden's case, I think the best way to handle it, and that's in what we're doing going forward, is we drop Karen's link, we drop Aiden's link, and we drop my links. And everybody in here can choose who they want to support. If you can support all three, that's great. But if you want to choose Karen, Aiden, me, that's fine. I think that's just the easiest way to do this. I've shown receipts of all the streams that I've done where I've donated the 25% kickback to Karen and Aiden. And I've even thrown my own money up there just because I want to help. So I've shown all the receipts on there. You can go on all of the both web pages and see my name. And one of them I even fucked up and put my full name on there. But the LTL, and I don't really give a shit. People can fucking know who I am because you know what? I'm probably the cleanest face. I have nothing in my past, nothing to hide. I am who I am. If you don't like it, I don't know what to fucking tell you. That's just who I am. But you can see the receipts on there, LTL True Crime Fundraiser or just LTL True Crime. So it's all up there. And what we did during those streams is we did a running total. When I had donations came in, I dropped the dollar amounts in there. So if anybody wanted to go back and add it up, you can add it up. And I had Carrie keep a total, and then we just took 25% and gave it back. And it's
so,
fine. Go ahead.
So why don't you tell
me a fucking grifter all you want?
Why don't you
take back a lot of money.
Why don't you tell them the truth? Tell them that like you raised 700 and you donated 1,000.
Yeah.
Like I know that. Like you did that. You should not have to answer.
I rounded up.
I know what you did. You know what you did.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, you're the last person that needs to be questioned about anything. Yeah. Anything. Don't even entertain
I don't really give a shit because here's the thing.
No one's business. You do more for everybody.
I don't know how I have to. Yes. We make money. Yes.
And we give it back.
Right. And I give a lot of money back. All the fucking receipts are on the websites, you know?
People don't know. They don't know. They don't.
I personally have people that reach out and say, thank you. So it's recognized, believe me. And you know what? I'm tired of fucking talking about this and answering it because it's just the stupid trolls. Yes. Yep. I sure make money. I do. I want to make a career of doing this. I want to be an independent media, fully independent, fully functional media station. Yep. That's what I want to do.
That
I want to make money.
Might need to change, seeing how YouTube, which is what we're on, takes 70% That's not a winning business strategy anywhere. That they take 70% of anything.
And I kick back and I go out to the hearings and I spend my time out there and I drive. How about this? The people that call us fucking grifters, why don't you show up? Or how about this? Start your own fucking channel and talk shit if you want to talk shit. You know, because if you don't think that all the channels that fight back against us aren't making money, you're only fooling yourself too, because they're making money talking about the same thing, talking about our shit and calling us idiots. They're monetized too, and they're making money. So it kind of cuts both ways, if that's the way you want to look at it. But I really don't give a shit. I know I'm a good person. I know what I'm doing to kick back. I don't have to prove shit to nobody but myself. That's it. And I know my heart is good and I know my heart is pure, and fuck you. If you don't want to watch me, I don't know. Turn it fucking off.
I don't know why they're jealous. They can do the exact same thing that you're doing. Actually, I believe they are. If it's the same people, they're doing the same thing. They just do not like what you're standing for. Not how you're.
I know that.
It's what you're standing for. The fact that you back Aiden in his reporting. Oh my God, people stroke out over that. Oh, they lose their mind.
Yeah, I work about over 100 hours a week easily. I have a full-time job, 40 plus hours a week, and then every single moment of my life is dedicated to this channel. I haven't seen my friends in about 9 months. Well, here and there, but most of this, because that's how you get your business going. You dedicate every single second of your life to it. If you want to make something happen, you are the only fucking person that's going to make it happen.
No one else.
No one's going to give this to you.
Nope.
No one's going to give it to you, and you go for it. You go for it.
Yep.
If your heart is not in it, then you fucking need to get out.
It has to be. You won't make it if your heart isn't in it.
Right. And I do get emotionally attached to the cases that I handle. Of course, the cases that I talk to, the people that I stick up for. Absolutely.
How can you not feel for the parents of the 4 people that got murdered that night? I mean, how can you not feel that, right? That is like, oh my God, the pain, right? And there are people, the people that are complaining are the same people who don't have that feeling.
Or how about this? Chelsea Grimm, the young lady that went missing in San Diego, her fucking parents haven't said one fucking word about her. And I reported on that case for months and got people that cared about finding Chelsea on my channel to fucking get the news out there and say, hey, if someone knows something or someone sees something, can you please contact the Coconino Sheriff Department and turn in that tip? Because we're looking for this young girl because she might be dead out in a fucking desert somewhere and she doesn't deserve to be there. She deserves to be found and brought home.
And you get all sorts of people looking for the poor girl.
Yeah.
Out in the desert.
There's still people out there looking for her.
Yeah, with drones and everything looking.
There's still people looking for her. And they're not even employed. They're just out there looking for her because this young lady deserves to be home. She doesn't deserve to be a pile of fucking bones buried in the desert somewhere. God forbid she's still there. You know? So fuck off. If you don't like it, I don't know what to tell you. Go somewhere else and pound fucking sand. So, all right, let's play Tom.
The usual circumstance is a Rule 17 motion is filed. It's supported by an affidavit. It's supported by a memorandum of law. And then there's oral argument regarding whether the affidavit has made a sufficient showing,
gave up her fucking apartment,
sufficient specificity to justify having tangible objects and or documents subpoenaed to court. That's not what we have here. What we have here is a Rule 17 motion that has been properly filed with supporting affidavits that justify the summoning in of Brian Albert's phone and his phone records and Ms. McCabe's phone records. But then we have an opposition by the Commonwealth with a competing affidavit. So Mr. Albert's attorney says today that this court should just look at the affidavits and make a ruling on the motion. I posit to the court, how are you supposed to do that? How are you supposed to evaluate competing affidavits and then resolve issues that are strictly focused on credibility? The only way that you can do that, Your Honor, is by having those witnesses come to court, testify before Your Honor, subject to cross-examination, and then you make findings of fact which would allow you to then make rulings of law on the Rule 17 motion. So we start at a baseline of our expert needs to testify, their expert needs to testify.
No, the thing is, Heidi, the people that complain are the people that can't fucking sit down and make a rational thought for themselves. They're people that would never spend the amount of time that any of us put into actually researching and doing these lives and putting together, because they're not a constructive person. That's the thing. Their brain doesn't think at a higher level. Look, I'm not the most smartest fucking person in the world. I barely passed high school. Okay. But when I'm passionate about something and get involved in something, I'm going to go all the way with it, and when I look into these cases and find people that possibly could be framed or incarcerated, falsely incarcerated, that's a problem, because the bottom line, it comes down to this could be Tom, this could be me. This is what's going on with Aiden. This is what's going on with Karen. This could be any of you in this chat room. And I would want someone out there doing the same thing for me, standing up for First Amendment, standing up when things are wrong, looking into your community, finding out who's policing your communities, finding out who's running your communities. And if there is corruption, then those onion layers and those curtains need to be pulled back. The old Wizard of Oz, don't look at the man behind the curtain. No, fuck that. We're pulling it back. We want to look.
Yep.
Because if something's wrong, I want to know. And, and that's why I always say people always focus so much on the national election. Doesn't mean fucking shit. You live in your community. You need to know who's fucking running it. Because I guarantee you, those smaller communities that no one ever pays attention to and doesn't go out and vote for the constituents in their area, those are probably some of the most corrupt motherfuckers in your neighborhood, because you ain't looking.
That's right.
National election, that gets all the attention. Oh, Donald Trump this, Donald Trump that. Fucking, you got to tell me the other night that you have a potential candidate that won the Iowa caucus, blew people away, and these cocksuckers on fucking mainstream media are going to shut him off and say, well, we'll go to there if there's something important that needs to happen.
It's just
That's
like
censorship. You can't fucking do that.
It's the Michael Morrissey effect. It's get Aiden to shut up. That's all they wanted. Every time they went to court, when Jen McCabe went to court, can you shut him up? When Chris Albert went to court, can you shut him up, Judge? Just make him stop. When they hired Mello, Judge, can you kind of craft something to just make him stop? I mean, no, it's his First Amendment right. So what do? They get him on this, which is a no-brainer. And the best part about the whole thing is, like, he can walk out, but he's not going to admit to something he didn't do. Man,
no one ever has a problem with the people that stand up and all these fucking these liberal leftist fucking purple hair people. They get out there and they scream and they go, my human rights, my this, my that. No one has a problem with that. But when you have someone that stands up and they take a more conservative approach in something, those are the people that everybody wants to shut down.
Yep. Because
it's a bunch of bullshit. And I'm honest. I lean center right. I'm very honest here. I'm not a staunch fucking conservative, but I'm center right. I've been very honest about that. And I don't really give a shit about your politics. I really don't. I get along with liberals just as much as I do conservatives.
Why is the liberals not taking this cause up? This is a liberal cause. This is this is what the liberal cause is about. And yet we're what?
Fuck the police, right? Oh, fuck the police. Look at it. I'm one of the most pro fucking police people on this earth. Believe me, I got military. I have so much military that runs through my veins. I should be pissing it out. I mean, there's so much military. I had 8 great uncles that went to World War II all at the same time and came back alive.
And think about this. There are people that want to shut you up.
Of
Just
course.
just like they shut up Aiden. Just like they shut up. Can you make them stop? Can you just make them stop? No, we ain't fucking stopping. Are you serious? You really think we're gonna stop?
Here you go.
Because-
Moofy Loops. I'm very liberal and I've supported Karen Reed from the beginning. Well, I love you being here. And I think Aiden said one of the most important things of the last time at his press conference. He said, you know what? The Free Karen Reed movement, and I mean this from my heart too, the Free Karen Reed movement has brought to people on both political sides together.
Yep.
Because we get it. We understand the evidence and we can look at it that she did not do this, but we need to find out who did. And that's the most important thing right now.
And make sure it doesn't happen again, because it could be this could be happening to the same people who are screaming to shut you up specifically.
Right.
So we're actually trying to help the people who are, motherfucking us behind our back. We're still trying to help them in the whole scheme of things at the same time. So
right,
whatever.
All right, let's play on.
We intend to call their expert as a witness.
Good segment, Tom.
First. And when I say expert, I'm talking about Trooper Garino, which is the witness that we have been provided notice of right from the beginning.
Yeah.
Where we've just been
makes a
notified
good point.
At the last minute of the Commonwealth now trying to retain an outside expert, apparently feeling that Trooper Garino is not adequate. So my co-counsel may have something to say about that. But regardless, Your Honor, there needs to be expert testimony, first of all, to resolve this factual dispute. And once we have expert testimony, we have an evidentiary hearing, despite the fact that the Commonwealth now says that they don't want an evidentiary hearing after agreeing to it, setting this date down, having the court rearrange its schedule, and having people fly in for it. Now they say they don't want one. They can't avoid it, because the only way they avoid it is by conceding our affidavit. If they don't concede that affidavit, if they don't concede the factual underpinnings of our Rule 17.
Just pause this real quick. And Scott, thanks for being here. And he says, and thank you for being a member as well, too. Thank you. Supporting my channel. He says, greatest part of this movement is political leanings don't matter. We are all united. That's what I mean. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And I know, look at it. I did talk a little conservative politics there. I probably pissed some people off. People probably left. It's fine. Listen, but we got to get past all of that. And that's the freedom that we can talk about this. It upsets me when things like I just said, you have someone, and I would even be pissed off if it was Joe Biden they cut off, because we need to hear from that side as well, just as the other side. But the funny thing is we here on the pro Karen Reed side always say, sure, I want to hear their point of view too. But we're the ones that are the motherfuckers all the time. We're the ones that they want to shut down. I want them to talk. I want the other side to talk as well too. I want to hear what they have to say. Makes good material.
but no, I mean, like, I don't know anyone that has disrespected the other side. Everyone that I know that's involved in this has always been open to listening to an alternative theory. How's that? They're always open to hearing a what if, and I've entertained a couple of them, and you have to. I want them. I want to check myself. I want to question myself. I want to figure out some things that I still have questions about,
Sure.
But that's what we do here. And anything that we can do to help, I'm all in with that.
Absolutely. All right, let's go back.
Then they're asking for an evidentiary hearing, because that's the only way that they can test it. So now we get to Mr. Albert and Ms. McCabe. If I can deal with them in the opposite order in terms of how they spoke.
Sure.
With regard to Ms. McCabe, counsel states that she's been interviewed, she testified before the grand jury, she'd be cooperative, et cetera, et cetera. The one thing he did not say is whether she's been asked by anybody on the government side or by anybody, period. Did you Google at 2:27 a.m. in the morning, 3.5 hours before anybody supposedly knew that John O'Keefe was lying on the lawn of Brian Albert's house? Did you Google how long to die in the cold. Nobody has asked her that. There can be no more relevant question with regard to our Rule 17 motion. We have made allegations in this motion that point to a third-party culprit defense here, Your Honor. And Your Honor has recognized that third-party culprit defense in your prior ruling on our motion for animal control records. It is a credible theory. We believe at the end it will be revealed to be the truth in this case. And in order to pursue that theory, ultimately, after the evidentiary hearing, we'll be arguing that we need Brian Albert's phone, which is both relevant and material. But again, that will be an argument for a later time to be made by my co-counsel. So now we're at the stage where we need to prove the factual underpinnings of our motion. And part of the reason why this is not a motion to reconsider any prior ruling that the court made, it's a brand new motion. That's because we have brand new information. Since we filed the last motion, we've had the opportunity to go through Ms. McCabe's phone. We've seen that Google search. We've seen all the deletions that she's made.
Please, you need to be muted. You need to be muted. Thank you.
We've seen, as our expert has averred, in support of this motion, 18 phone calls that were deleted, 2 of which went to Nicole Albert, 1 of which went to Brian Albert, shortly after my client discovered John O'Keefe's body on the lawn of Brian Albert's house.
You know, here's one thing too, and I have to say that people have been super, super classy about. I don't know anything about Kevin. I don't know anything about Yellow Cottage Tales. I don't watch them. I do know this, that Kevin is sick. And, you know, I think that one great thing that people have done, and I know I'm probably going to get some shit for saying this, but it's the human thing to say. I would, you know, I feel bad for the guy. He's going through cancer, and you know, we've all been touched by that. You know, in some way we've known someone, and you know, it's a horrible thing. But I have to say that people have kept that really classy and have not come after him. And I know I'm going to get probably some shit for it, but you know, I wouldn't want to see anybody go through that. So I have to, you know, I just had to say that. So anyway, I mean, he can tear me up. I know they come at me, whatever, but I'm just going to leave it as it is, you know.
The call to Brian Albert was deleted. Ms. McCabe, we have averred with specificity, took a screenshot of Brian Albert's contact information, which would lead you to believe that she's sending it to somebody, but then she deleted that screenshot later in the day. There were multiple deletions. So we need to prove that. These are allegations that we've made in an affidavit supporting the Rule 17 motion. The Commonwealth has contested it, and now the Commonwealth is taking the position. And Ms. McCabe said,
so as far as the hearing on Thursday, we still don't know anything. Still waiting to hear what is supposed to happen with that. We're still waiting to hear if it's going to be in person or on Zoom.
The Canton 9 is Thursday also.
It's Thursday also.
So we'll get you
Where
there.
is that, Tom? That one's in Dedham as well, or no?
Dedham, yes.
District?
Wherever it's going to be, I'll get you the guys. I'll be there for you guys.
That'll be at the district court, right?
I'm not sure because they split up the defendants. You know how they split them up, and they actually sent the young boy somewhere else completely.
Mm-hmm.
Stoughton District is what they're saying.
All right.
Not a problem. But we'll wherever it is, guys. If it's on the moon, we'll get the video for you. How's that? We'll get you.
It's in Stoughton, they said. Yeah.
We'll get you there. We got it.
I think it's going to get dismissed. I think
it's a waste of money to take it any further. It's a waste of money and time to go any further with that whole situation. I don't.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the last we heard, the young boy, the 15-year-old, was dismissed, and then you were out there with the attorney, and he said, "I think it's looking good." So yeah. I think it's going to get dismissed.
He said he wanted to the judge wanted to listen to all of the defendants to make a final ruling, that because he's going to make one ruling that's going to affect 9 people. He wants to hear what not the 9 attorneys want to say.
He wanted to take everything into account. That's right.
So yeah, he was 17 or 18 years old. But I mean, you know what? What a great civics lesson for the kid.
Yeah.
Hey, you know, welcome to Canton.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll buy a house here when he gets older. I don't
know. I think he's probably not going to move. Moving to
The attorney is taking the position that, oh, okay, we're contesting that this ever happened. My client's innocent. She was just cooperating with the government. And yet, we don't want you to ask her any questions about it. She possesses that information. She has relevant and material information about what was on her phone or not on her phone, what she did or didn't do, and that all contributes to our basis to ultimately get Brian Albert's phone. With regard to Brian Albert's attorney's argument that we don't know what's in his phone and we are just on a fishing expedition, that couldn't be further than from the truth. Ms. McCabe's phone has revealed the contact that she had with Brian Albert. We know that there are going to be records of that call that she made to him that she deleted from her phone. We know from the remainder of the evidence, including the evidence that John O'Keefe took 80 steps and climbed 3 floors, which we averse proves that he went inside that house. We have.
Okay, are you beyond the motion to quash right now and arguing the substance of the?
There's Bev, cut him off.
Well, I guess the reason I'm bringing this up, Your Honor, is that he possesses testimony and evidence that is relevant and material to our Rule 17 motion. They're trying to quash his testimony, saying that we're harassing him or that we're being oppressive. We're not. We're just looking for the information that he has that will either confirm or contradict their expert or our expert or both. So, again, this is not a fishing expedition by any means. These witnesses possess relevant and material information. This court should order that they stand to testify pursuant to the subpoenas that were duly and properly served upon them, and we would ask you to deny the motions to quash.
All right, thank you. I do just want to let defense counsel know that I did receive last night's correspondence. I had the opportunity to review that early this morning, so I did receive your opposition.
Thank you, Judge. I mean, we were under the gun to get everything filed.
I understand, so I appreciate it. I appreciate getting it in advance. All right, so Mr. Albert's motion to quash is allowed, and Ms. McCabe's motion to quash is also allowed. So where does that leave us?
Well, we're now at the point, Your Honor, where we still need an evidentiary hearing in this case.
Okay, so I'm going to address that. So when there was mentioned previously, any mention of an evidentiary hearing, that was before I heard from the third parties, Ms. McCabe and Mr. Albert. I've now heard from them. And pursuant to Rule 17, as we know, I must, right? The rule's clear, I need to hear from those folks. So now they're objecting to the evidentiary hearing, as is the Commonwealth. And frankly, regardless of whether or not defense counsel and the Commonwealth agreed to an evidentiary hearing, there's no authority for it. I am not having an evidentiary hearing in this case.
Of course there's authority.
No, I am not having an evidentiary hearing in this Rule 17 motion. I rely on the case law. I have also had the opportunity to read Judge Cipher's decision that was attached to the Commonwealth's motion, a decision I know you're all familiar with, RC versus Ryder-Chilkoff and the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. So there will not be an evidentiary hearing on a Rule 17 motion.
I'm going to tell you right now, if this goes to trial, keep in mind, this is the shit that they're going to face through this entire fucking trial. Because she's not for them. Not that she should be for anybody, but she's definitely not for them.
I'm under the impression he needs to get out of Norfolk County. He ain't got a chance here. He doesn't. There's too many people, and the force, I think, is too great against Mr. Bradle to fight this. He needs to get it out of Norfolk County and get it into, I mean, Bristol. That's just as worse, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, he needs to get out of that system.
But
judge.
And she's not for she's not for Jackson, Yannetti, or Little either, or Karen. And not that you should pick sides, but I'm going to tell you, it's going to be an uphill battle for that team. Uphill battle, and they know it. They know it. They know it. All right, let's go.
I will hear you, even though the Commonwealth says that this is a regurgitation of the first motion. I will hear you on the Rule 17 motion now. So, Mr. Jackson, I'll hear you on your Rule 17 motion.
Your Honor, with regard to the Rule 17, very clearly, this is not, as the court just indicated, a regurgitation of anything. It's a brand new motion. I understand and respect the court's ruling. I am confused, and I must say I don't quite understand the court's ruling, given the fact that the Commonwealth has taken such a vigorous position in their affidavit on the facts that are referred in our Rule 17 motion. It seems to me that would be the perfect opportunity, even if it's limited to the experts on the issue of the Google search.
Okay, so I understand, Mr. Jackson, that you wanted an evidentiary hearing. There will not be one, so let's hear you on the merits of the Rule 17 motion. Your rights are saved. That's clear. Your rights are saved. Okay?
Thank you.
All right.
With regard to the Rule 17, our question would be, what is the Commonwealth so desperately afraid of? Why are they so desperately afraid of us getting the materials, the documents, the data, and the physical phone that we've sought, respectively, under the Rule 17 motion for Brian Albert's phone and the data associated therewith for Jennifer McCabe's cell phone data as it pertains to the cell records? What are they afraid of? They seem to be desperately fearful that we're actually going to get to the truth of what actually happened on January 29th, 2022. In their motion, or in their opposition, they've indicated, Your Honor, there's nothing to see here. All of this was dealt with back in September of 2022, and there's nothing new here. It's clearly not a regurgitation of the 2022 motion. It's a completely different set of facts that we have and we've presented before the court. How long to die in cold? Spelled Haas long to die in cold. A search conducted by Jennifer McCabe at or before 2:27 in the morning. That's a very, very nuanced and very important distinction. The 2:27 a.m., 2:27 and 42nd a.m. search, or timestamp associated with that search, is the timestamp associated when Safari was exited out of. So she could have made.
This is important, noobs. Pay attention. It's very, very important argument here. So you really need to listen here. If you're new to this case, this is super important information here.
The search.
And that's why I call him Action Jackson.
Did make the search at some point just prior to 2:27 in the morning, some 3.5 hours before John O'Keefe was found dying in the cold in front of Brian Albert's house. That's new fact number one. The Apple Health data that establishes that John O'Keefe took 80-odd steps at or between 12:21 a.m. and 12:24 a.m. that he climbed the functional equivalent of 3 flights of stairs.
Yeah,
Fact number.
This is a great question right here. Nisi says, why are Google searches allowed in every other case except this one? That's a really great, it's something of a very simple question, but it often gets overlooked. And I think that's really great that you brought that up. That's really, really good. Good one. I like that.
2. Fact number 3 is John O'Keefe's phone pinged at or near the location of Brian Albert's house. That's not a coincidence that Brian Albert has 3 floors in his home, or did at the time. John O'Keefe's injuries, the injuries to his arm. Although those were mentioned in September of 2022, we didn't have Dr. Sheridan's report. This court has already opined on the relevance of Dr. Sheridan's report and his opinions and conclusions. That's new evidence. It establishes unequivocally that given the fact that those are dog bite, dog scratches, and those occurred at or near the time of his death, that means that those scratches occurred inside the house. Those bites occurred inside the house. Those injuries occurred inside the house. The dog was, according to Mr. Albert's own testimony, the dog was never outside the house. He was never in the front yard. Additional new information. 7 separate phone calls from Jennifer McCabe's phone to Brian Albert. Counsel had made a very bold statement. There's no evidence in his moving papers. There's absolutely no evidence of any phone calls between Brian Albert and Jennifer McCabe on January 28th or January 29th. That is provably false. There were no fewer than 7 phone calls that we can prove, and we believe that the cell phone records of Jennifer McCabe will likely prove other calls as well. The court has to understand, I think, and it's important to understand, not only do we have information that she deleted materials from her phone that we can find that are deleted in the Celebrite extraction, the Axiom extraction.
Oh, real quick. I just want to pause this real quick. If anybody's following the Gilgo Beach murder case, which I don't know why anybody is, I mean, that's going to be probably one of the most prolific serial killers of all time. Rex Human was actually, he's going to be facing charges in Maureen Brain Barnes. They've connected him to that victim as well, too. And I think they got him by credit card transactions. He had like 3 days in and around that area that she was taken in, very close, I think, to her neighborhood or near her house. So he's being indicted in that. So he's facing 4 murder charges now. And I'm going to tell you, this guy's going to be someone that killed a lot of people. And it's a crazy case. And he was, I don't know, Tom, if you knew this, he was the guy that was burying all the victims out on Long Island and Gilgo Beach for years.
Pieces of them.
Yeah. It's crazy. And this guy's going to go down as probably one of the notorious, ruthless fucking serial killers of all time. I mean, they have, bro, this video of him, and if I can find it, I would play it. But they have him being interviewed by a French TV company that's doing, I don't know, talking about, I forget what they were interviewing about, but he says, they say, well, how do you handle stress, or how do you handle people? He says, I have a hammer. And he goes, and he gets really into it. And he goes, I have a hammer. And he goes, I can bring it out. And I'm not saying that I hit anybody with it. It's really creepy interview. And he goes, but it's kind of my justice, my peacemaker. Oof. And he gets really into it. Like he just starts almost like frothing at the mouth when he's talking about it.
Too happy, too ecstatic about it, right?
Yeah. A little too happy there.
Listen, can you rewind this like maybe 5 seconds? Because I think he said that Axiom also found the deleted messages from Mrs. McCabe.
Let's do it.
Or near the time of his death, that means that those scratches occurred inside the house. Those bites occurred inside the house. Those injuries occurred inside the house. The dog was, according to Mr. Albert's own testimony, the dog was never outside the house. He was never in the front yard. Additional new information. 7 separate phone calls from Jennifer McCabe's phone to Brian Albert. Counsel had made a very bold statement. There is no evidence in his moving papers. There's absolutely no evidence of any phone calls between Brian Albert and Jennifer McCabe on January 28th or January 29th. That is provably false. There were no fewer than 7 phone calls that we can prove, and we believe that the cell phone records of Jennifer McCabe will likely prove other calls as well.
And real quick before we play this, here's another case, and it's actually say this question too. Why is this case not being allowed to have cell phone data in it too, where every other case now has cell phone data in it?
Because you have you have the guy who's real close with the judge who just says, Adam Lally, he just says, well, that didn't happen.
Mhm.
And then it's said and done, and it's like, so God says, and there it is, it's done. All because he says, that just didn't happen. So when he's just makes that comment off the cuff about something, and he's done it a few times, there's no way.
Well, you know what I have to say about that?
It makes absolutely no sense. That is the Commonwealth grasping at straws. If it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, it's a duck. The court has to understand, I think, and it's important to understand, not only do we have information that she deleted materials from her phone that we can find that are deleted in the Celebrite extraction, the Axiom extraction, the ArtX2 extraction, the Belkasoft extraction, the Sanderson extraction. Those are all different tools that our expert has used that established every one of these calls were made.
You get him, Tom?
Did you hear what he just
It's
said?
like 4 different things that extracted that data.
They verified everything
Anderson? Yeah.
with different programs, at
Yeah.
least 4 different programs. They verified that.
Yeah. And this is the thing why we like to go back over this and hear these again, because you miss all this stuff.
Who was it that said that 227 didn't happen? Who
Yeah.
said that? The prosecution, Lally? That
Yeah.
again, great example. He can get in front of the judge and say, well, 227 didn't happen. It happened according to 4 pieces of software that says
Right. Actually 5.
5.
Landra said 5.
So it's things like this that, like, I didn't know there was more than one. I thought it was just Celebrate that pulled the.
I did too.
Now we know Axiom did it, and
Yeah, they want me to go back and play it. Let's go back again. Okay, let's hear that again. It's important. Again, newbies, you need to listen here. This is very important argument from Alan Jackson. He's a master at this stuff.
To Brian Albert, counsel had made a very bold statement. There's no evidence in his moving papers. There's absolutely no evidence of any phone calls between Brian Albert and Jennifer McCabe on January 28th or January 29th. That is provably false. There were no fewer than 7 phone calls that we can prove, and we believe that the cell phone records of Jennifer McCabe will likely prove other calls as well. The court has to understand, I think, and it's important to understand, not only do we have information that she deleted materials from her phone that we can find that are deleted in the Celebrite extraction, the Axiom extraction, the ArtX2 extraction, the Belkasoft extraction, the Sanderson extraction. Those are all different tools that our expert has used that established every one of these calls were made. There were also deletions that we can't account for. What do I mean by that? Other people's phones. There was another call made to Julie Albert. She testified to a call having been received from Jennifer McCabe to Julie Albert. She testified to that, and there is no data in the Celebrite extraction in Jennifer McCabe's phone to support that. That means that call was deleted and not.
Wow.
Back up.
Yeah, that, Tom?
I want to put that again. That's.
Yep.
Why am I seeing this now? How come we're just coming across? Man,
we tend to forget, Tom, and that's why we
correctly, right? This is okay. I'm just checking.
Yep, and that's why we go over and why are you guys going over the same? I'm picking on him. I know he's probably still in here, and I think he came around. But why are you guys doing the same stuff? Because you hear things differently when we do this. And that's why we do it. And that's why we want everybody here to understand what's going on. Because even everybody in the chat is picking up stuff that they never heard before. So that's why we want to do this.
And we're not saying it, by the way. The attorneys are saying this,
right?
Not us.
Right. We're just. Yes, I know. I saw. I should do a picture with Jackson with the beard. Yeah, I saw those photos today. All right, let's play this.
The Sanderson extraction. Those are all different tools that our expert has used that established every one of these calls were made. There were also deletions that we can't account for. What do I mean by that? Other people's phones. There was another call made to Julie Albert. She testified to a call having been received from Jennifer McCabe to Julie Albert. She testified to that, and there is no data in the Celebrite extraction in Jennifer McCabe's phone to support that. That means that call was deleted and not found. Where would we find that verification? In Jennifer McCabe's cell phone records. There was a call made apparently to, or communication made to Karen Reed's phone. We know that to be a fact. It came from Jennifer McCabe's phone. That also was not recovered in the Celebrite extraction. Where would that phone be, where would that call or communication be verified? In Jennifer McCabe's cell phone records. The screenshot of Brian Albert, that's Brian Albert's contact information. We know that there was a screenshot taken on Jennifer McCabe's phone of his contact information. There's only one reasonable explanation for why she would take a screenshot of Brian Albert's contact information, and that would be to conveniently share that contact information with another person. We know the first half of that the screenshot was taken and deleted. We don't know the second half. But this information would reveal it, and we're trying to verify that. Again, this is all new information that was unknown to the defense in or around September of 2022 when we filed our first motion. This is very much not a motion to reconsider. It's a completely new motion for summonses pursuant to Rule 17. The Commonwealth has disputed nearly every one of the facts that I've presented this morning.
Can you imagine, Tom, if this goes to trial and you're a juror and you have to, you're listening to Jackson, Yannetti, and Little talk? I mean, come on, dude. Like,
listen, if you're a juror on this trial, I don't see how you don't stand up and say, wait a minute, what?
Right.
Like, time out. What do you mean? Because if there was one thing that was consistent in this whole thing, is that nothing is just a straight up piece of evidence. Everything's got an asterisk on it, for crying out loud. Every single thing.
Right.
The taillight evidence, the snowbank that they found John where he was, this just where he was found, the finding the taillight by the cop that was on medical. I mean, there's too many asterisks in this case.
It's like, when they were trying to put asterisks next to everybody that was taking steroids in the 90s, hitting fucking 900 home runs a fucking season, Barry Bonds, all them. Nisi says, why does Brian Walsh's Google searches stand up in court, but Haas lying to die in cold doesn't? Good point. I love that. $9.99. Thank you so much. Buzzing for the truth. Thank you so much for the 3. Here's a fun fact. Guess who's in jail with Aiden?
Wouldn't happen to be the same person, would it?
Yeah, it's the same fucking person.
Can you imagine the story he could possibly get from him?
Yep. He says he's a strange dude and he just kind of wanders around.
Listen, you have to be to hurt someone in that manner.
Yeah.
How can you not talk to the wall?
All right, let's play.
Nearly every one of the facts that
Jackson fucking slaying it here. Kid.
The attached application. In doing so, the prosecution has clearly created the issues that have to now be resolved by the court. The court has the competing affidavits. I believe that we have made a valid showing of relevance, materiality. We have to have the information in order to propound and present the third-party culpability defense, which the court noted in its ruling on the Rule 17 motion associated with the dog records, the animal control records. That's exactly what we're trying to do in furtherance of that with relation to Brian Albert's phone and the data associated therewith, Jennifer McCabe's phone, which we already have, and the concomitant information surrounding that phone, which would be her cell phone records. We know that the cell phone is not complete. Her records would be more complete and paint a more complete picture. We know that Brian Albert, and by the way, there's nothing close to a fishing expedition in this case, which is that's the safe harbor that counsel constantly runs to when they don't have anything else to argue. Oh, no, you can't let the defense actually propound their theory of liability, their third-party culpability theory of liability. We don't want them to be able to go there because it's just fishing. Well, the twist under Massachusetts law is that We don't know what we don't know. That's true. But we have a good faith belief that information relevant and material to our defense of third-party culpability, third-party liability, is in the phone and is on the records, in Brian Albert's phone and Jennifer McCabe's records. And that's why we've asked for these things. We have not made this overly broad. It's highly tailored. It's highly narrowed. And all due respect to counsel's suggestion that witnesses are being harassed, we didn't pick these witnesses. We didn't pick any of these witnesses. The Commonwealth picked the witnesses. The Commonwealth chose to move forward with the allegations against Karen Reed, and the facts of the case chose the witnesses. We didn't pick Brian Albert out of the hat. It was Brian Albert's house. He was one of the last people to see John O'Keefe alive. It was Brian Albert's yard in which John O'Keefe died that morning. It was Brian Albert that Jen McCabe was talking to throughout the day on the 29th. 7 different calls that we're aware of, at least one of which she tried to delete as she tried to sanitize her phone before turning it over to the police. These are witnesses that are highly relevant and highly material to our production of evidence in furtherance of a third-party culpability defense to which Ms. Reed is richly entitled. Your Honor, our request is not a discovery request. Our request is an evidentiary request.
No Aiden at this one, huh?
We are not asking for discovery through the process of seeking Mr. Albert's phone or the phone records associated with Ms. McCabe. We're asking for evidence, evidence that's material, evidence that's relevant, evidence that's salient to a third-party culpability defense, one that we've already made a good faith showing exists in this case, and this court has already ruled is a relevant and material defense. We ask that the court issue the summonses under Rule 17 for both Mr. Albert's phone and the associated data therewith, as well as Jennifer McCabe's cell phone records and the associated data therewith.
All right. Thank you very much. Mr. Lally, I'll hear from
Oh,
you, but
okay.
am I also going
Thanks,
to
AC.
hear from Mr. Albert's lawyer?
Thank
and am I
you.
going to hear from Ms. McCabe's lawyer as well?
Thanks for letting me know.
We'll call on you afterwards. I'm going to hear from Mr.
Everybody's
Lally
catching up.
first.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I didn't see
Your Honor,
it.
the Commonwealth requests that
Your Honor,
the,
I'm sorry to interrupt. If Mr. Lally, or if the court could gently ask Mr. Lally to address the court from the podium.
Oh,
I
sure.
simply can't
Can
hear
you
him.
go over there?
It is my turn.
no, absolutely.
I'm going to ask you to keep your voice up so I can hear you over here from there, please.
That dude, that's such a power move because they want Lally right out front. They want to put him on center stage because when you remove, and you can tell, he's kind of a nervous guy. You can tell. And he's very nervous in this case because he knows a lot is riding on his back to get this done. I'm telling you. But that's a power move by Jackson because it takes Lally out of that spot and makes him completely vulnerable to get up at that podium. So if you get some, and you can see him, he's almost fucking shaking when he turns. And he knows now that he's going to be center stage. I love that power move.
Would you want to be in that meeting where they talked about Lally and say, how do we get this guy? All right, we got to do this and we got to put him here and get him, there was definitely a meeting about how to keep him off his game.
And it started at this hearing because they continuously do it to him all the way out. And it's to shake him up.
And I'm not implying that he's even got game.
Yeah.
Lally. So listen, there's something that Alan Jackson said.
Sure.
He said that Jennifer McCabe sanitized her phone. Do you know what that means?
She wiped it.
She wiped her phone, factory reset her phone before she gave it to the police department. Think about that. That is destruction of evidence. And again, why we're not talking about things like that? She deleted phone calls that directly impact this investigation, right? Like you can't mess with evidence. You can't, if you do, you're screwed, right? Well, I guess it's okay for her to delete phone calls. it's okay for people to get on the stand and lie. I'm just getting really frustrated with all this, that this stuff you can allow all this stuff to go on, but come on, really? Only for one side?
Yeah.
Bullshit. No.
AC says a factory reset makes anyone look guilty if that's what she actually did.
Oh, she absolutely 100% did. She absolutely 100%.
I just said it. Jackson just said it.
Reset her phone.
Wipe your phone.
Factory reset.
All right. I'm glad. You see, that's why I'm glad we go back and listen to these things, because you pick up a lot of stuff you forgot about. All right. Let's get Lally up there. He's shitting
Your Honor, the
already.
Commonwealth requests that the defendant's Rule 17 motion be denied. This isn't a situation where the Commonwealth is afraid of evidence being produced, or desperately afraid, as I believe as it was just characterized. It's simply that counsel and the defendant need to comply with the rules and need to actually state actual facts and actual evidence, as opposed to the fanciful fact section that's been submitted to the court. This case does not, as counsel suggests or states pretty plainly, hinge solely upon the testimony of Ms. McCabe. The statements and testimony of other witnesses, the forensic evidence, the video evidence are conjunctively simply hard to reconcile with counsel's facts, even assuming everything appeared in their motions and affidavit is true and accurate, which I submit that it's not. The predominant amount of statements made by the defendant to this witness, being Ms. McCabe, were made by the defendant in the presence of additional witnesses, which is conspicuously absent from counsel's recitation of those facts. Counsel states in the motion that the defendant, quote unquote, has always maintained the purported story of her leaving Mr. O'Keefe at the Fairview residence and calling him repeatedly to ensure that he was safely within the home.
I love the chat.
The defendant, over the course of the investigation, said a lot of things to a lot of people. She talked to a lot of civilians. She talked to a number of troopers involved in the investigation. This story was never presented, not once.
Shave your head, bro.
She did present varying accounts to varying people as far as when she last saw Mr. O'Keefe, what happened with Mr. O'Keefe the last time that she saw him, but never this particular version of events. The defendant seems to suggest that the body of Mr. O'Keefe was discovered that morning by the defendant and Ms. McCabe. However, Ms. Roberts was present with him at this time as well, but remains absent from counsel's recitation of the facts. Counsel further states that Ms. McCabe, quote unquote, inserted herself into the defendant's search that morning for Mr. O'Keefe. However, it was the defendant that awoke the victim's niece at approximately 4:30 in the morning, had the niece repeatedly call and text Mr. O'Keefe, and then asked for or instructed the niece to call Ms. McCabe at 4:53 in the morning. So this suggestion that Ms. McCabe is up all night pacing around her bedroom, or that she's shockingly awake at 4:53 in the morning and answers this call from the defendant. She answers the call from the victim's niece, and then the victim's niece, at the instruction of the defendant, puts the defendant on the phone. And that is how this search, or how this issue begins. The defendant initially tells Ms. McCabe that she last saw the victim at the waterfall. When she's then subsequently informed by Ms. McCabe that she had seen, being Ms. McCabe, had seen Mr. O'Keefe and the defendant leaving the waterfall together, and further seen the defendant's vehicle in front of the residence on Fairview, the defendant then indicates that she left Mr. O'Keefe on Fairview after they had gotten into an argument. These aren't just statements that Ms. McCabe testified to. These are statements that the niece overheard while Ms. Reed was talking to Ms. McCabe on the phone. She provided an interview, a sane interview,
back and not
her age,
Come
and
on.
indicated and corroborated those statements Ms. McCabe attributed
Where are
to the
you,
defendant.
bro?
The delay that counsel appears in the motion that Ms. McCabe caused in Ms. Reed's frantic search or trying to get to the residence on Fairview, the evidence demonstrates from Mr. O'Keefe's ring video that the defendant left Mr. O'Keefe's driveway at approximately 5:08 in the morning from the ring camera. She does not arrive for approximately half an hour later at Ms. McCabe's home. And the information from her phone and the information from the video from the Canton Public Library and from the Temple indicate that during that time frame, she travels towards the waterfall. She travels in the direction of the Fairview residence. So any delay that was caused in her getting to that residence with Ms. McCabe and Ms. Roberts was her own doing and not that of Ms. McCabe. Now, the defendant also states that Ms. McCabe stated to Trooper Proctor that while they were searching for Mr. O'Keefe, the defendant repeatedly asked, "Could I have hit him? Did I hit him?" The defendant also repeated these statements when the body of the victim was discovered, as reflected in the testimony of Ms. McCabe. It's also reflected in the testimony of Ms. Roberts. It's also reflected in the testimony of first responders. Paramedic who was standing directly next to the defendant when she said these things in response to the paramedic's questions. The further statements that Ms. McCabe attributes to the defendant while they're driving around were also corroborated by Ms. Roberts, because Ms. Roberts is on the phone with them on a Bluetooth while Ms. Roberts is driving her vehicle and Ms. McCabe is driving Ms. Reed's vehicle from Ms. McCabe's house back to Mr. O'Keefe's house. So all of these statements that Ms. McCabe has.
Go back. Like, I'm confused here. She's on Bluetooth.
Yeah, I heard Bluetooth.
She's on the phone with them while she's following who? Kerry Roberts is on the phone with Jen and Karen?
Let's go back.
I can assume.
Let's go back.
Information from her phone.
All right, I'm going to go back a little bit more.
Mr. O'Keefe and the defendant leaving the waterfall together, and further seeing the defendant's vehicle in front of the residence on Fairview. The defendant then indicates that she left Mr. O'Keefe on Fairview after they had gotten into an argument. These aren't just statements that Ms. McCabe testified to. These are statements that the niece overheard while Ms. Reed was talking to Ms. McCabe on the phone. She provided an interview, a sane interview due to her age, and indicated and corroborated those statements Ms. McCabe attributed to the defendant. The delay that counsel veers in the motion that Ms. McCabe caused in Ms. Reed's frantic search or trying to get to the residence on Fairview, the evidence demonstrates from Mr. O'Keefe's ring video that the defendant left Mr. O'Keefe's driveway at approximately 5:08 in the morning from the ring camera. She does not arrive for approximately half an hour later at Ms. McCabe's home. And the information from her phone and the information from the video from the Canton Public Library and from the temple indicate that during that time frame, she travels towards the waterfall. She travels in the direction of the Fairview residence. So any delay that was caused in her getting to that residence with Ms. McCabe and Ms. Roberts was her own doing and not that of Ms. McCabe. Now, the defendant also states that Ms. McCabe stated to Trooper Proctor that while they were searching for Mr. O'Keefe, the defendant repeatedly asked, "Could I have hit him? Did I hit him?" The defendant also repeated these statements when the body of the victim was discovered, as reflected in the testimony of Ms. McCabe. It's also reflected in the testimony of Ms. Roberts. It's also reflected in the testimony of first responders. Paramedic who was standing directly next to the defendant when she said these things in response to the paramedic's questions. The further statements that Ms. McCabe attributes to the defendant while they're driving around were also corroborated by Ms. Roberts, because Ms. Roberts is on the phone with them.
You hear what he just said? First responders. So he said the first responders heard Karen make those utterances. First responders. Like as if she's standing in front of the all the firemen that arrived and says, "Hey, I did it. I did I hit him? I hit him, right? It was me, right?" Mm-hmm. No, that he adds an S to a first responder, not first responders. That's where this whole thing gets convoluted and confusing, and the other side saying, "Oh, well, he didn't say this, and 227 didn't happen," all because of that guy right there with the hair gel in his brain is saying that. That guy, because he says it, there's nothing to back it up except what he says. He's got no evidence shown yet. But if he says 227 didn't happen, they're taking it like, hey, it's been proven in court that it didn't happen, which is not true. It's been said in court that it didn't happen by that guy right there, where he's adding people to this entire scene that don't belong there. A first responder who's dating the kid that lives in the house where the body was found. Yep. They don't say that part, which is true. So a first responder who happens to be the girlfriend of the kid that lives in the murder house. Yeah. But good.
On Bluetooth, while
Oh, wait. Let's go. This is that Bluetooth part. Let's listen.
The testimony of Ms. McCabe. It's also reflected in the testimony of Ms. Roberts. It's also reflected in the testimony of first responders. Paramedic who was standing directly next to the defendant when she said these things in response to the paramedic's questions. The further statements that Ms. McCabe attributes to the defendant while they're driving around were also corroborated by Ms. Roberts because Ms. Roberts is on the phone with them on a Bluetooth while Ms. Roberts is driving her vehicle and Ms. McCabe is driving Ms. Reed's vehicle from Ms. McCabe's house back to Mr. O'Keefe's house. So all of these statements that Ms. McCabe has purported to have created are corroborated by other witnesses, by video, and by forensic evidence. The new revelations or the new evidence that Counsel Veers was withheld from the defense that Mr. Green has apparently uncovered is specious at best. It's from the affidavits or the reports that were subsequently done by Trooper Garino and an independent forensic experts that our office hired in regard to this, whose qualifications are contained within the attachment that I filed with the court, approximately a 21-page resume that she has in this particular field. She teaches in this field. She writes in this field.
Yeah.
And she comes to the same conclusion that Trooper Garino does, that those Google searches that are attributed by Mr. Green as happening at 2:27 and 40 seconds in the morning did not occur at that time. They were,
Bingo. See? Because he just said that right there. Because he said that, Matt McCabe says to Aiden, no, that was proven in court that it would never happened. And that's the other side. All the people on the other side that are saying that Karen's guilty, they're saying it was proven in court that it didn't happen. By him saying it doesn't prove it to be true.
But you're going to see the data. We have the data. There's 5 extractions. It's 5 extractions.
5 different companies.
Deleted.
So listen, I have another question. Now that the more I think about this, what?
Yeah, I heard some about confirmed on video too. What was that? He goes, it was confirmed on video
about them driving the 2 vehicles back.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, confirmed on video. Yeah,
that's at the library. They have that footage. What is Kerry Roberts doing up at that time in the morning? Because according to what he just said, Kerry was already up and like at Jen's house or something. Like,
you know why they were up? Because they're all shitting their pants because of what happened inside that house.
Well, either that or it was snowing inside the house and they're all awake.
Yeah.
Makes sense, right?
Result of the file being parsed from a write-ahead log or a wall file. The analogy that I would make as far as Mr. Green's analysis of the phone is very similar to counsel's recitation of the facts. It shows you one thing, but neglects to put it in the context of the rest of the facts.
Yeah.
It neglects to put it in the context of the remainder of the evidence. And what Mr. Green does is, yes, there is an indication in the phone that there was a search at 2:27 and 40 seconds in the morning. However, if you look behind that data as to when that entry was actually created, it's 6:23 a.m. and 6:24 a.m., which is while Ms. McCabe is on the scene in front of the Fairview residence with the defendant, conducting that Google search in response to the defendant's request to conduct that Google search or to Google hypothermia or something to that effect.
Whoa, back up.
As far as these deletions within.
Wait a minute. He just said that Jen just Googled that, right?
Mm-hmm.
At 6:24 and 6:24 a.m., right?
Right.
Do we know what time the 911 call came in?
I'm sure you do.
And then the ambulance call?
If not, I can pull Sleuthy's
right. Yeah.
Google sheets up.
Yep. I'm just curious. I mean,
someone in the chat knows. 604. There you go.
He's adamant. Lally's adamant.
Didn't he say that she Googled it at what? 6:10?
6:23 and 6:24.
So you're
Later
gonna wait a minute. That doesn't make sense. How long did it take for the first responders to get there?
They were there quick.
All right. So can someone tell me when the first responders showed up? Hang on for the chat. Someone's got to know it. Someone's got to know. Because 6:04 was the 911 call.
Yep.
6:07 they responded. So then she Googled that 20 minutes later. That doesn't make any sense.
At 6:23 and 6:24. And at 6:23 and 6:24, that's when the cops were there and they would have started separating people. And
Right.
and I think Karen was frantic, running around, right? And they took her away too. I don't think she was asking Jen to Google anything for her. She was a little like distressed at the moment. She wasn't thinking Google nothing.
I mean, look, man, what I would have done is probably taped off the scene and went up and knocked on the door and said, "Hey, there's a dead police officer in your front yard. Does anybody want to have a statement, or did they see anything or hear anything?" Or
we can't do that. It's after the fact. We can only deal with what we got. And this is what we got. So
okay.
Like 6:23 and 6:24, that's what he said. I don't know if the time is right there of the Google search, we'll say.
Well, it happened at 2:27.
Yeah.
To the rest of the facts, neglects to put it in the context of the remainder of the evidence. And what Mr. Green does is, yes, there is an indication in the phone that there was a search at 2:27 and 40 seconds in the morning.
So he even just admitted, yes, there's an indication. He goes, yes, there is an indication. But see, what he's going to do now is try to play smoke and mirrors here. Ready? Here comes the smoke and mirrors part.
However, if you look behind that data as to when that entry was actually created, it's 6:23 a.m. and 6:24 a.m.
That doesn't make any sense. So you've time jumped now. We skipped time. So essentially, Jen McCabe went through a black hole and ended up on the other side, and that's really when it happened. That makes that's the most fucking ridiculous statement I've ever heard. So if
he's saying
this orange juice,
right?
If I drink this orange juice right now at 10:29,
and the cup,
and then 15 minutes later, the cup is empty, and you go, "Oh yeah," but you really drank it at 10:45. That makes no sense. Scott had a good point up here. Let's see. Scott says that was Jen trying to cover over the 2:27 a.m. Google search by searching it again twice. Oh, that's a good point, Scott. She's a fucking time traveler.
Yeah. I mean, that's just the more I hear him, the more it bothers me.
All right, we got about 30 minutes. Can everybody still going to be able to make it? 11 o'clock? Let me know in the chat. Give me a yes or a no. Come on. And we'll play on here. All right.
Which is while Ms. McCabe is on the scene in front of the Fairview residence with the defendant, conducting that Google search in response to the defendant's request to conduct that Google search, or to Google hypothermia or something to that effect. As far as these deletions within the phone, both forensic experts, being Trooper Guarino and Ms. High, indicate that these deletions are not something that is actively done by the user. So to simply say, oh, this information was deleted from the phone is not an indication that Ms. McCabe deleted that information from the phone. It's something
that makes that's the biggest horseshit thing I've ever heard in my entire life right there. That's the biggest fucking lie I've ever heard in my entire life. Tom,
you can't make this up. You can't make this up.
Photos that are on my phone right now. There's no way they're leaving this phone unless I hit the delete, and they really still don't leave because they can still extract it. It just gets it taken off of I don't know. I don't really, but
then the question: are the pitches really even there to begin with?
well, at 2:27 a.m. maybe, but what's time travel? We'll just say it's 6:24.
Right. So, like, you're gonna try and delete pitches that haven't even been taken yet.
Jody says she's so mad she can't text right now.
Thing that happens as data is stored, as data is set aside, to such things as this wall file. There is a search at 2:27 and 40 seconds in the morning, and it's in relation to Ozone basketball. Now, Ms. McCabe
I
also
love that one too. The
that
fucking
the night
basketball.
before going to the waterfall, her and her husband had gone to one of her daughter's high school basketball games. She indicated that her girls play basketball, girls play sports. She's checking scores. She's checking standings. She's checking stories about her child's basketball game at 2:27 in the morning. And essentially,
who does that? It seems like this is the most ridiculous shit. So you go. This is Jen. Okay, ready? Wait, was she supposed to be sleeping or was she up? Was she up or sleeping? What's the narrative?
Riding a unicycle, dude. I don't know.
Okay, so let's just say she's sleeping. Okay, ready? Here it is. Ready? Oh shit! It's 2:27 a.m. Yeah, my son's basketball game. Yeah. Who?
Did they get the 10 to 12 score correct?
Who fucking wakes up at 2:27 a.m. and starts Googling about a fucking son's basketball game?
She said she looked up the scores, but the fucking website doesn't have
I look up the fucking Patriots score at
there are no scores on it. She's looking for something that doesn't even exist on the website. Yeah.
Scott says, does Adam Lally actually believe his own Lally-splaining, or is this just trudging forward with the ridiculous because this is his job? I think it's the latter.
I got a question, right? Can you imagine him being your dad yelling at you?
Oh, fuck. I don't think I've met anybody in my entire fucking life that told me a story like, dude, I was fucking sleeping and I woke up and fucking at like 2:27 a.m., bro, I fucking Googled the Pat score, or I need to know what the fucking Red Sox score was. I've never even heard of that, Tom.
Yeah, I'm telling you, but
the best way that I can describe it is this. If you were to open up the Safari app on your cell phone, and you do...
He's telling us.
The only way.
This is the only way. Ready? And the funny thing is when the defense brings in their expert, it's going to fucking crush this.
You engage the Google website and you do a Google search. Then you close that Safari tab, the Safari application. You put the phone down on the desk for 6 hours. You pick up the phone again after that time has elapsed. You go back to the same Safari tab, and you go back without creating a new tab or a new website. You go back and do a subsequent Google.
I'm doing this experiment. You fucking know this, right? I'm going to do this experiment. I'm marking this down right now at what? 39 minutes. I'm going to fucking do this experiment and record it, and we'll fucking prove it wrong. Ready?
Google search. That subsequent Google search that you're doing at, say, 6 p.m. is going to reflect in the phone as being done when the website was first visited, when Google was first visited. That's 6 hours before. That is what happened
travel with
in
Lally.
this particular case, and it's borne out throughout the affidavits and reports from the various forensic experts in relation to that. Now, as far as the phone calls to the Alberts from in front of the house, yes, there are phone calls reflected in the phone. There is no deletion of Mr. Brian Albert's contact information from within the phone. It's still in the phone. It was in the phone when
Tom, you look like you have Mickey Mouse ears behind
May
you.
4th of 2022. It's still in the phone now. The phone calls, I think, are perfectly sort of understandable in the sense that Ms. McCabe is in front of her sister's home, finds her friend lying on his back, struggling for his life, and she makes a phone call to her sister. The phone calls durations, they do list as answered, but so do calls when they go to voicemail. They list in the phone as answered. And the duration of the calls, I think, is telling. And that the first call at 6:07 and 42 seconds lasts for a duration of 9 seconds. The second call at 6:08 and 17 seconds, which also lists as answered, lasts for a duration of 7 seconds. These are calls that are going to voicemail. And then subsequent to that, at 6:23, Ms. McCabe makes a phone call to Brian Albert, which lists as unanswered.
All right, wait a minute. At 6:23, she calls Brian Albert, and it was unanswered. Okay.
Yep.
So she calls the people that are in the house. Hey, there's a dead body out here, but I'm getting voicemail. They're friggin' red buttoning Jen. Okay. So Jen drops her phone and decides she's gonna now at 6:23 and 6:24, we're gonna start what? Googling stuff.
Googling. After
She-
everybody came by.
She just calls Brian and her sister, right? She just hangs up at 6:23 with them, and she decides, there's no blankets, there's no towels, there's no nothing in the car. 911's just called, and they're gonna Google. We're gonna start Googling stuff. 6:23, she calls Brian, he don't answer, and then what? She just starts Googling stuff? No.
Oh man, the jury's gonna have a field day with
The last, as far as the health data,
Oh,
I don't want to keep reiterating this. I spoke about it.
He's like, what the fuck, people? You can't get it fucking through your thick skull.
He's the one giving us the information.
Yeah.
This is all Lally.
Passport date, but the health data from Mr. O'Keefe's phone has him taking 133 steps at 8:08 in the morning, 68 steps at 8:25 in the morning, 87 steps at 7:57 in the morning, 81 steps at 11:06 in the morning, 109 steps at 11:18 in the morning, and then 46 steps at 11:56 in the morning. The issue with that, as far as being able to rely on any of that data for anything whatsoever, is that Mr. O'Keefe was pronounced deceased at the Good Samaritan Hospital at 7:50 in the morning. So all of these steps, all of these feet, all of these things that he is traveling are after he has passed away. Furthermore, as far as the 3 floors going up and down within the house,
Well, yeah, it would be after because they probably removed his items and it got brought places, right? I mean, even if it was after, right? You would think that they probably gathered his belongings and all that stuff moved. I mean, I don't know. But I got to hear. This.
There's a good thing. Kat made a good point, right? Why would Karen ask Jen to Google how long to die, Nicole? You have EMTs right there. They're going to answer the question in a matter of seconds.
That's true.
Ask the professional, the dude right there. The fire guy. He'll tell you.
Yeah.
Don't need to know Google. I got a fireman.
Human Google right there.
Why would she ask Jen to Google that if she can just talk to the fireman that's right in front of her?
Right.
in Trooper Garino's report, he details as far as looking a little bit deeper, a little bit more than just, the phone or the health data indicates that he went up or down 3 flights of stairs. What it also indicates from Mr. O'Keefe's phone from the GPS information is that he did a Waze search because he had never been to 34 Fairview Road before. He does a Waze search to try to locate it. Now, that GPS information from his phone has at the same time that he's going up and down 3 flights of stairs, he's more than a half mile away from the residence at that particular time. It also gives speed. He's traveling at a certain distance, meters per second, that's encapsulated within Trooper Garino's report as well. None of that health data is even remotely accurate. Now, furthermore, there is a supplemental report, which I filed as an attachment to the Commonwealth's opposition that Trooper Garino conducted in regard to certain measurements and GPS locations from Mr. O'Keefe's phone. And what they show is sort of concentric circles as far as the distance that the person could have traveled from that in those specific time frames. And essentially what it boils down to is there is a total of 3 seconds. 3 seconds in the entire time that Mr. O'Keefe is in the area of 34 Fairview Road, that any of those concentric circles even touch the house of 34 Fairview Road. And following immediately from those 3 seconds, the circles are able to then be condensed and more accurate information is generated in relation to putting him exactly where he was found at 6 o'clock the next morning by Ms. McCabe, the defendant, and Ms. Roberts. And again, another statement attributed to Ms. McCabe is that Ms. Reed was the only one who could see in the blizzard conditions, which I know the court has reviewed in relation to Officer Sharaf's cruiser camera footage of his approach and arrival at the scene, which is almost around the same time as the three ladies would have been approaching 34 Fairview. But the point being, again, it's a statement that Ms. McCabe is, the only one who said that the defendant said this, or the only one who describes this reaction by the defendant as being the only one who could see Mr. O'Keefe laying in the snow, covered in snow from that distance in the dark in a blizzard. But unlike in the recitation of counsel's facts, Ms. Roberts, who was in the vehicle, says the exact same thing as Ms. McCabe. And I think one of the other things to note is that these two women, as far as Ms. McCabe and Ms. Roberts, essentially barely know each other at this particular point. So how they are related to this case and how they are related to Mr. O'Keefe is Mr. O'Keefe cared for his niece and his nephew. Now, Ms. Roberts has a son around the same age as Mr. O'Keefe's nephew. They both Ms. Roberts and Mr. O'Keefe grew up in Braintree, knew each other in that regard. Now, Ms. McCabe has a daughter and lived in the general vicinity initially where Mr. O'Keefe lived when he took over care of those children. And his niece is around the same age as one of Ms. McCabe's daughters. Different ages, different genders, different kids. They barely knew each other before this day. And now they're sort of inextricably linked going forward based on their shared experience of being called and told different stories by the defendant on this particular day and taken on this ride along to discover Mr. O'Keefe's body. What I would say, Your Honor, is the revelations from the forensic expert from Mr. Green, which is the only thing even closely approximating new information from the prior Rule 17 motion that was denied in relation to this, they're specious at best. None of that information based on the further, it's similar to the arguments that are made in relation to the facts by counsel. If you take one piece of evidence, you divorce it from context, and you don't provide any sort of contextualization of what that means within the whole of some of its parts. And the same thing is being done as far as the affidavit from the forensic expert is taking this thing and saying, oh, well, there's a search and it's deleted. But if you look at the search and you look at what deleted means, it doesn't mean what counsel says it means. It doesn't mean what counsel purports it to be. And for those reasons, I would ask that the motion be denied.
All right. We'll hear from Mr. Albert's counsel first, and I'm going to let you speak again, Mr. Jackson.
Thank you, Your Honor.
So you've heard for 40-something minutes different recitations of facts. I want to focus for a moment for the Rule 17 just on my client and the allegations that the defense has made. Even after you bottle up everything that's been said, the allegation is that someone, not my client, placed a phone call to my client that went unanswered after the body had been discovered in front of the house. That's the sum total of the allegations from defense that touch on the issue of the phone. The rest of the material that the defense has suggested is relevant to their Rule 17 is theory, and I would argue it's the alternate theory, and they're entitled to make their alternate theory argument. Mr. Jackson, a few moments ago, used the phrase safe harbor in relation to the concept of fishing expedition, and he actually stole the words that I was going to use in relation to the concept of third-party culprit. Because really what that boils down to here is the defense is saying we get to do whatever we want, search high and low, do whatever we need to in order to defend our client. And I understand in concept what that means. But the issue is that under the provisions of our law and the case law, they can't just say it's relevant to their case, snap their fingers, and then go into the personal effects of a third party innocent person who's related to the case only because they're a witness. But that's the argument that they're making. The only connection between what they're suggesting and my client's phone is an unanswered phone call, unanswered, at 6:23. Counsel made the suggestion that I said earlier that there's never any indication or no record of a phone communication. That's not what I said in my opposition. I said there's no indication of a conversation because there's zero grand jury testimony about it. There's zero forensic evidence about it. There is no conversation because one didn't take place. But that's the suggestion they're using to then bootstrap the rest of the argument. The federal rule, Rule 17, the equivalent, is guiding Massachusetts case law. That's been referenced in Lampron Inquiry. There's a federal case that came out in 2018. I provided a copy to counsel and I provided it to the Commonwealth, and I'll hand up a copy to the court. It's, in essence, it's United States versus Cartagena
Alba Dalejo, 299 F sub 3rd 378. And in this case, there is a Rule 17 subpoena that is issued by the defense seeking, quote, exact copies of the reports, photos, or notes regarding a shooting incident on a particular date. And in this particular case, the court made the comment in ruling against the Rule 17 decision that request, just for copies of notes and photos or reports, was overly broad. Quote, the potential to bolster a complainant's allegations and the potential to undermine them provide possible material for impeachment, but the inability to articulate with precision what records he seeks or the purpose for which he seeks them confirms that he cannot satisfy the specificity problem. If the moving party cannot reasonably specify the information contained or believed to be contained in the documents sought, but merely, quote, hopes that something useful will turn up, this is a sure sign that the subpoena is being misused. Moreover, they have cited no authority to support the proposition that searching for, quote, alternate theories is a proper basis to compel production of documents. And that is precisely what we're dealing with here. The defense has a theory. I give them that. That's their job. But the Rule 17 standard does not allow that they snap their fingers, come up with a theory, and then intrude on other people's personal, private materials in order to then build their case. Because the concept there would mean that, again, we're talking about one phone call. So let's use this in some other case, because if the court were going to make this ruling, it would stand for a proposition. The proposition would be that if a witness to statements and a witness to conduct of the defendant makes a phone call, any phone call, the person that witness contacts has to turn their phone over to the defense if they want to create an alternate theory of the case. And that cannot be what Rule 17 stands for. This case, the federal rules, the state rules, they outline the standard that the defense needs to meet. And if you look at the actual Rule 17 that they filed, what they're requesting is far more broad than, quote, reports, photos, or notes. They're requesting a 7-day period of everything having to do with the phone and the phone itself. That overly broad interpretation of Rule 17 is reflective of what the defense theory is here. The defense theory is we have an alternate defense. We want to argue and create evidence for that alternate defense. And that is not what Rule 17 is designed for. Because Rule 17 isn't about her. Rule 17 is about the third parties. It's designed to protect those people who, by no fault of their own and no conduct of their own, become involved in a matter, either as a witness or a bystander or what have you. That's exactly what's happened in this case. And so rather than trying to meet the burden, after hundreds of pages of affidavit and supporting documents, what it boils down to is a phone call that was placed and never answered and no communication. And they're trying to use that plus all of the other window dressing to suggest that that allows the court to order a subpoena for a third party to turn over their personal effects. And that is not what Rule 17 stands for. I just ask that the court take this into consideration, even though it's not part of the opposition memo.
No, I'll take a copy of that. Thank you.
Of course.
Thanks, Jim. All right, Mr. Jackson, I'll let you respond. After that, Mr. Reddington, if there's anything you want to say, I'll let you say it.
I did that as a case of my right hand system, and I had sort of
All right, thank you very much. All right, Mr. Jackson, so go ahead and I'll hear you.
Thank you, Your Honor. With regard to the Commonwealth's argument, taking those in order, to reuse the same word that's been used and probably beaten to a pulp today, talk about a regurgitation of the same tired, factually incorrect theory. That's exactly what you heard today, was exactly what Mr. Lally has been reciting. He literally read it from a paper that he's clearly had for some time. It's the exact recitation of the same facts that he's used over and over and over, and they are factually incorrect. He indicates none of the facts that we've cited in our moving papers are supported by any evidence. That's absolutely incorrect. That's absolutely incorrect. For instance, Jennifer McCabe. He said Jennifer McCabe was not up all night. There's no evidence whatsoever that Jennifer McCabe was up all night, except for her Apple Health data, which shows that she was up all night. We didn't make that data up. That data came right from a cell phone extraction that was conducted in no small part by their own expert. and then reconducted by our own expert? How about the fact that she was actually on the phone searching? The Safari data establishes that not only was she up all night, but that the phone and Safari was being manipulated during those times at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning. These are unassailable facts, unassailable data, directly from the Celebrite extraction. These aren't, as Mr. Lally likes to say, fanciful facts. He's got that written down somewhere, obviously. He said that at just about every hearing. There's nothing fanciful about any of the facts that we've submitted and have supported with affidavits and evidence. The Commonwealth's theory, quite to the converse, is supported by nearly nothing. Nothing. Everything that we've suggested is supported by the data, the evidence, and the facts. The Commonwealth's theory is supported by conjecture and really bad policing. Almost unbelievably and very troubling as an officer of the court, Mr. Lally provides a brand spanking new expert yesterday. We didn't have any of the information concerning this new expert. Quite frankly, I haven't even committed her name to memory yet. I don't even know it. It's Hyde, Hyde. First time I've ever heard of Jessica Hyde was yesterday while I was on the plane on my way here. That's when we received that information. And lo and behold, Mr. Lally springs that on us today and starts reciting her.
I got to go right now. I'll be right back.
Conclusions and opinions.
Tom, we only
That
got
is
20 more minutes. Hang in there. We're almost done.
Wildly inappropriate, wildly unfair. We haven't had an opportunity to look at her report, to review it in detail, to have our expert compare his notes to her report. What I will tell you is that what Mr. Lally said about her report is not quite true. He didn't quite get that right either. What she actually said is why the timestamp is listing the time of 2:27 and 40 seconds in the morning is unknown. Her words, not my words. That's what she said about the timestamp. That her conclusion is the reason for the definitive timestamp is unknown to her. Well, we know why it is, because we've had more time to distill it. There's something, and I'll take this opportunity since Mr. Lally brought it up and try to explain what his theory, an incorrect theory of the timestamp is. I'll take a minute to explain what the actual true facts are. An Apple iPhone has a clock in it. It actually has two internal clocks. One of those internal clocks is run by a program known as Apple COCOA core time. The Apple Cocoa core time is the number of seconds from January 1st, 2001 until right now. So for instance, if I open my phone, which I just did, Apple Cocoa core timestamp just noted the exact moment that I just opened my phone. And it's noted from January 1st, 2001. Right now, actually in 2022, in January of 2022, those numbers of seconds was around 665 million. About 665 million seconds had passed between January 1st at midnight, 2001, to January 29th, around midnight, around 2:27 in the morning, on January 29th, 2022. Why is that important? Because their expert, Mr. Guarino, indicated, oh, well, you can't rely on the timestamp of how long to die in coal, because that's at the exact same time as the Ozark basketball webpage was brought up. So something must have gone wrong. I don't really know what it was, but it must have been something. Well, what we would do, had we had an opportunity to cross-examine Mr. Guarino, is perhaps explain to him that which he doesn't know, which is the following. More than one web page can be up and open on a cell phone at any given time. The court knows this. Everybody who owns a cell phone knows this. You can have multiple pages open. One page is sitting on top of the other, and then there are multiple pages behind. All those pages are still open and potentially running in the program in the iPhone. The 2:27 how long to die in cold search was nanoseconds, milliseconds before the Ozark basketball search page came up. How did Apple Cocoa Core Time relate those two events, those two artifacts on the phone? It happened like this. At some point, she searched, used her thumbs. The Apple iPhone doesn't coordinate the timestamp for when she's using her thumbs. People type faster, people type slower. It coordinates when someone exits out of a search. In other words, when you close that web page. She obviously Google searched how long to die in cold. We know that because we found the search. The deletion was not the deletion of the search, it was the deletion of the page. And as soon as that page was deleted, the other page behind it, Ozark Basketball, was immediately populated. And when I say immediately, not at the same time, nanoseconds behind it. We actually have the nanoseconds. It's 5 digits beyond the decimal point. We know exactly how that happened and why it happened. And Rick Green, our expert, has verified that, not through one, not through two, but 5 different tools, establishing exactly how long that it took for the Ozark page to populate behind the how long to die in cold page once Jennifer McCabe exited out of that page, if that makes sense.
Now, when she hit the X, it took milliseconds to populate the page that was behind that.
Yeah.
So when you hit that X, the milliseconds is the time it takes for the page that's behind it to come in front of your. To us, it's about 1 second to our eyes,
Right.
But to the
Like
phone, it's milliseconds.
Right. It's like when you have your phone, you had a bunch of applications open, and you're swiping like this.
Yep.
That's essentially what happened.
Every time you touch that screen, it's a millisecond difference. Now, you know how he was given a time, so many seconds from January 1st, 2001. Do you know why it is because of that?
Mm.
Do you know why?
Educate me.
Y2K, big dude.
Oh, okay.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Okay, they wouldn't flip over.
Right.
They said, "Oh, we got to fix the phone issue." So they started making everything start from
You're right.
Y2K to go forward.
Mhm.
As many zeros as they want to program in for the next iPhone 15 or whatever it is. But they have that down to an absolute science.
All right, real quick. We got about another 15 minutes here. We're going to rifle through the rest of this. And I'm just going to say my pleasantries here. I appreciate it because we're losing people. It's getting late.
Yeah.
I want to thank everybody so much for being here. We've been almost over 3 hours. It's been hell of a worth it. These streams have been so educational. I hope that everybody's here finding great content in this, and we're going to keep doing these. And Tommy, you're always invited, dude. I'd love to have you come up and do another one of these with me.
Absolutely. And
Okay.
you guys, the people that are here watching, thank you
Great.
so much. You're all wonderful people.
Yeah, we'll get Tommy up here again. We'll go through this. But these are the streams that I'm going to be doing, this looking back series over the next couple weeks. We'll get Tom up here on the nights he can do it. And I just want to say thank you. I know Tom's appreciating everybody being here. I appreciate everybody being here. We're going to wrap this up in about 15 minutes and then just do a quick goodbye, and then we'll get everybody out of here, get some rest, because I'm tired. I'm tired too. All right, let's play this out about another 15 minutes. And before we do that, I just want to do one of these.
It makes absolutely no sense. That is the Commonwealth grasping at straws. If it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, it's a duck.
All right.
So we know that she was Googling how long to die in cold at minimum, 3 hours before John O'Keefe's body was ever found. This is not some anomaly. It's not a question. It's not, as their new expert says, unknown why the Google search took place, or the timestamp is what it is at 2:27:40. We actually know. Rick Green knows. His colleagues
I already have the T-shirt, Mindy. You can
know.
Check it out.
And the scientific community knows.
Right here. Absolutely.
Mr. Lally
Thank
also
you.
said, Jennifer McCabe,
Tom's
she didn't
welcome
delete anything.
anytime.
This stuff just happens.
I told that on day
Stuff
one.
just doesn't delete itself on an iPhone. Everybody that has an iPhone, every 4-year-old that has an iPhone knows that stuff doesn't just delete itself. That's not how iPhones work. Everything that was deleted was concentrated into a time period. It was concentrated on or around January 29th, 2022, at or around 6 a.m., 7 a.m., 8 a.m.
Someone drop the link.
throughout the day.
Mary's still
on the
here. Can you drop the
29th,
link?
And up until she turned that phone in on February 2nd, 4 days later. Those deletions weren't coincidental. They were done by her. 18 separate calls were deleted. There were 7, by the way, and I will address counsel's statements about Brian Albert and his phone in just a second, but it dovetails into what I'm saying right now. In terms of the conversations that counsel talks about, what he said was there was no conversation between Brian Albert and Jen McCabe on the 28th or the 29th. He's just wrong about that. He's ignoring the facts. There were 7 phone calls. One of them at 6:24 a.m. was unanswered.
Ron might
The
be
other
at work.
6 were all answered.
Awesome.
And there were
Good
conversations.
seeing
They
you,
were in
Ron.
some cases
He's
not
an
just
OG.
seconds, but minutes
Ron's
long.
been here for a long time.
So there
Watching me
is
from the
evidence
beginning.
that McCabe
I always
and
loved seeing
Albert
him in here.
were communicating back and forth to one another. That's why it's important that we verify what those communications were and how long they took and what other communications might exist on Brian Albert's phone that weren't sanitized by Jennifer McCabe before she turned her phone into the authorities. There were also phone calls, not to Brian Albert, but to Nicole Albert at 6:07 and 6:08 in the morning that lasted, 6:03 and 6:04 in the morning that lasted 9 seconds and 7 seconds respectively. Those calls were answered. Brian Albert's call wasn't answered. But previous to that call that Brian Albert ignored, were 2 calls to his wife who would be sleeping next to him at that time. Now, 9 seconds and 7 seconds isn't very long. It's not long enough to say, oh my God, you guys get up, hurry out here. We just found John O'Keefe's body in your front lawn. It's not long enough to say that and to have a conversation about that, but it is long enough to say something like, listen, we're here. Don't come outside. It is long enough for that. And in fact, as we know, Nicole Albert and Brian Albert, a sworn police officer, never came outdoors, even though the entire world of law enforcement and medical personnel and first responders were responding to his front yard where a dead body was. Never ever came outside. Interesting. Mr. Lally talks about the 80 steps. He said this at the last hearing, and he said it again, he reiterated it again at this hearing, in terms of John O'Keefe's Apple Health data, trying to throw sort of this murky explanation into the mix that the steps actually occurred after he was already pronounced dead. There are obviously, his expert found him, our expert found him, there are data that suggests that steps were taken with that phone after John O'Keefe was pronounced dead. Those aren't incorrect data. That was incorrect policing. It was sloppy policing. Those aren't John O'Keefe steps.
Yep, that's what I said, Tom. They moved his shit around.
God rest his soul. Those were Michael Proctor's steps. He clearly stuck John O'Keefe's phone in his pocket and started walking around.
Yep.
He didn't secure
Exactly
the
what
phone
it
properly,
was.
so the phone was still recording data. It doesn't know whose pocket it's in.
Proctor was never there.
Yeah.
That's what, remember? Proctor was never at the scene that day. How'd he get his cell phone? How?
Yep.
Steps that were after John O'Keefe was dead doesn't mean that the steps were incorrect or it's unreliable data. It means it was in a different person's possession, Michael Proctor's possession. And that's his fault. Like I said, he just didn't secure the phone. With regard to Kerry Roberts, Mr. Lally just makes this pronouncement, as the Commonwealth is wont to do, just these factual pronouncements with no fact to support it. Kerry Roberts and Jennifer McCabe, quote, barely knew each other. Note we have 15 phone calls, 15 phone calls on the 29th between Jennifer McCabe and Carrie Roberts barely knew each other? If that's true, they got to know each other real quick. With regard to the statements made by counsel on behalf of Mr. Albert, again, indicates that no conversation. What I said in my papers, Your Honor, was there was no conversation, no evidence of any conversation between Brian Albert and Jennifer McCabe. Therefore, there was one unanswered call. That's all you should look at. Everything else is just cannon fodder. Just ignore it. How about the other 7 calls that were made and answered on January 29th between Jennifer McCabe and Brian Albert? He indicates that we lack specificity in our request. Your Honor, I have nary seen a more specific request ever. We have narrowed our request down to only communications and location data for Brian Albert's phone, and only for the time period between January 29th and February 5th. It couldn't be more narrow. It couldn't be more of a specific request. We're not asking for a free-for-all search of his phone. We're looking for communications and location data only, and only for the time period relevant to his involvement in this case. One of the things that counsel suggests is that the defense is entitled to put on whatever defense they want. We can have a third-party culpability if we wish, but we're not allowed to just go and pick and choose and just throw a dart, pick someone out randomly to invade their privacy. Well, first of all, we're not invading anybody's privacy. We're defending someone accused of murder. And we didn't just pick randomly. Brian McCabe is the owner of the home in front of on whose property a Boston police officer took his last breath. He was murdered and lay in that front yard of Brian Albert's house. Brian Albert is the owner of that house, and he was one of the last people to see John O'Keefe alive. Literally with him just minutes before his death. Minutes before his death. He owns a home with 3 stories. We have evidence that just before his death, John O'Keefe took steps suggesting 3 stories, up or down. We don't know which. He owns a dog. We have specific evidence. Talk about specificity. Specific evidence from one of the country's leading pathologists indicating that John O'Keefe's arm was mauled by a dog. Brian Albert's dog was a 90-pound German Shepherd. Oh, and by the way, Brian Albert made sure to get rid of that dog in the months following John O'Keefe's death. After that dog had literally been with the family for some 7 or 8 years, or 6 or 8 years. The person that found the body along with my client, Jennifer McCabe, was frantically calling into the home, within minutes of finding the body. Those calls were later deleted. Brian Albert later sold the very house where this crime took place, distancing himself further from the crime scene. The Albert family is also connected to, as we've gone into pretty specific detail, connected to the elite investigator in the case, Michael Proctor. Your Honor, I'm bringing up these facts, which the court knows, but it bears repeating only because Mr. Lally and Mr. Higgins have suggested that we just sort of pick somebody out of whole cloth to seek their information. That couldn't be further from the truth. Brian Albert is integrally involved in the death of John O'Keefe. He is implicated in the death of John O'Keefe. Jennifer McCabe is equally implicated in the death of John O'Keefe and the subsequent cover-up of that death. We are entitled to defend our client. It couldn't be more specific, our request. It couldn't be more narrowly tailored. And we couldn't need it more. It couldn't be more necessary for Karen Reed to defend herself. She's entitled to this information. She's constitutionally entitled to defend herself, and she's constitutionally entitled to this information. Your Honor, there's no question that we have sought to and have successfully narrowly tailored our request. To the court's satisfaction, we are not on a fishing expedition. We have sought very narrow data from Brian Albert's phone. We've sought very narrow data from Jennifer McCabe's cell phone records. We're entitled to that data. We're entitled to verify that which we know to be true. We can't just walk into court, Your Honor, at a trial and start spewing things that we think might be true. We know them to be true. We have to have evidence to back those statements up. You know for sure that the Commonwealth is going to say, if we don't get these data, where's the evidence, folks? I can see him standing in front of a jury right now. Where's the evidence? Sounds to me like the defense is on this fanciful journey, trying to convince you of facts that they can't prove. We need to prove it. We have the ability to prove these facts. And that's why we're asking for these products, these things, and these records.
Okay. Thank you very much. Mr. Lally, any brief response?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Henning, any brief response? All right. Thank you very much. Jim, I think we need a next date.
We do. Something in July. We're going to file further motions.
I'll take
Jim.
this under
Remember
advisement.
last hearing? Jim.
Do you want to have a pretrial hearing? Do you want to do a scheduled conference? Something in July.
And it can be done by Zoom, Mr. Jackson.
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
It can be done by Zoom. I know I told you before, you don't need to always come out here. Okay.
Understood. Thank you. May I have just a moment to consult
Sure.
my calendar?
Excuse me. About another 2 minutes, we'll wrap this one up. Thanks everybody for being here. I appreciate it. It was a late night. Maybe we'll start a little earlier next time because these have been 3-hour bangers, but they've been worth it. It's so good.
Yep.
You all been hanging in there. I love it.
Funny how you hear stuff the second time you.
Yeah, that's why we do this. Look at this fucking guy. You think he's burnt out?
That's my parents' attorney.
He's like, he goes, I don't fucking know what I'm doing here.
He's been around the block a couple times, that guy.
Yeah. He goes, I don't know how I'm fucking gonna explain this.
Yeah. I'm fucked. That's what he's saying. I'm fucked.
Oh, we're gonna play all of them, Alex. We're gonna go through all of them. That's why we're doing this. Thank you.
She's got such contempt. You can just see it in her
Yeah,
face.
she fucking hates it.
Oh,
She's like, she wants to get down the Cape to the cottage.
you can
If
see it.
September's better for you, we can do that.
I'd really like to do it in July.
You're welcome.
Okay, so let's do it.
It's a super great night. Can't wait to do the next one. Me and Tom will be up here again.
Yep.
Fun.
17, 18, or 19 of July. I was looking at. I just can't do that week of July.
What about the following week
Yeah,
after
I
the
could do 11, 12, and 14.
No, I'm saying the following week after the 18th,
After that,
so that the week of the 24th,
of June,
July.
July. Yep, just not the 27th.
July 25?
July 25?
Is the Commonwealth available?
That's fine.
July 25. For what? Scheduling conference or
Pre-trial hearing.
pretrial hearing? Okay. Pretrial hearing, 7:25 at 2 p.m.
All right, thank you very much.
Thanks, Lord.
That's it.
Bingo.
Tommy,
Boy, it's been fun.
3.5, right?
Something like that. But yeah, and we're not even done. Like, it's not even close. It's like it's so much more. Really.
Yeah. Next one, you're invited, dude. I'd like to have you back up here again. It was a good time with you.
Listen, let me know. I'm free.
All right,
Except-
cool.
You know, when I'm
Yeah, doing
Yeah.
your thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we'll get Tommy up here for the next one.
Listen,
And,
can I say something real quick?
yeah, of course.
Everybody who's still here with us, we love you. And if this case is getting to be too much, you got to take a step back. Please take a step back for you. We're not going to go anywhere. We're going to, we're not going to get that whole thing, but we're more important. We're more worried about your well-being than anything. So you guys, if you're not sleeping at night, talk to somebody. And this is tough for a lot of people. It takes a lot out of us. So, you got to know when it's okay to, if you need to talk to someone, don't be afraid to do that.
Yeah, I will not be streaming tomorrow. I'm taking tomorrow night off. I got to prepare for Melanie Little on Friday. I want everybody to do this, and I can't promise I'm going to use everybody's questions. But if you have a question for Melanie Little, email me, letstalklivepodcast@gmail.com. And in the subject line, just put Melanie Little question or, ML question. And I'll pull up and I'll use, some of them if you have questions. And it's got to pertain to the Karen Reed case.
Guys, I'll ask her out for you. Okay. I'll take the hit for that, guys. I'll ask her out and I'll let you know how it goes. It's all right. I'll do that for you guys.
And I think we're going to have a good time. I'm going to go over the Coffin Daffer video with her and just have her talk about the canine expert again, because that was really good stuff. And just what, her feelings were when she first started hearing about this case.
Yeah.
So,
and just, you got to thank her for bringing the attention to this case, because she's got a fire, because she's from New York and we're from Boston. So we kind of understand where she's coming from, and that she's great. I mean, we need more people like that.
Melanie, go ahead.
Oh, thank God we have her.
Melanie Little will be here on Friday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to drop the link. Set your reminders. Okay. So the link is here. Just go over and hit that little reminder button and you'll know. So just to be here Friday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we'll have Melanie Little here. I'm going to take tomorrow night off. And then what's tomorrow? Wednesday. I should be back. Thursday potentially could be the court hearing. So Tommy and I will be down there at the court to support Karen if it is in person, and shooting video and live streaming and all that stuff. And then we'll probably come back and recap on Thursday. And then Friday will be Melanie Little.
I can't wait for Friday. You're going to do so good with that.
Yeah, it's going to be good. It's going to be a good time. Yeah, it'll be a good time. All right, we're going to get out of here. Go ahead.
People for questions to get to you, to get to her. How's that?
Yeah, just email me, letstalklivepodcast@gmail.com. I'll pick out the best questions, put them together, and I can't promise I'm going to get everybody's question, but maybe at the end she'll be nice enough to take a few questions from the audience as well too as the presentation goes on. So we're going to get out of here. We love all of you. Thank you all so much for the support. Thank you for the donations. Free Karen Reed, free Aiden, justice for John O'Keefe. 100%, absolutely, 1,000%. We love all of you. Thank you so much for all being here. We're going to hit the new outro tonight, and this will take you out. All right, everybody. We'll see you soon. Bye.
NCL true crime, we going deep in the dark. Yeah, peeling back the layers, expose the hidden in mark. From the streets to the alleys where the secrets lie. Getting into minds of the wicked, no alibi. True crime, unraveling the web of evil. No stone left unturned. We dive into the crime. Yeah, we digging up the dirt, bringing justice to the crime. LTL true crime, unveiling dark realities of the crime. Unraveling the web of evil. No stone left unturned. We dive into the crime. Yeah, we digging up the dirt, bringing justice to the crime. LTL true crime, unveiling dark realities.